The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? Scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Monday edition of Running Points, presented, of course, by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a new or slightly used automobile, you need to check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. After all, they have a tremendous service department, tremendous sales department, and a great finance department. And if you are looking to purchase a new or slightly used automobile, you need to have all three of these factions working together in sync, and that's what you get over at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. So before you make the commitment, and believe me, it is a commitment, it's a financial commitment, getting a car. That second biggest thing that you're going to do other than buying a house. If you are looking for a brand new or slightly used automobile, before you make that commitment, do yourself a favor and go to Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Today is Martin Luther King Day. And happy MLK Day to everyone. Lots of things going on in the afternoon, and today is a day of remembrance of one of the greats in our country's history, and certainly one of my favorites in terms of some of the quotes that he has. It's absolutely amazing, and one of my favorite human beings, taken from us way, way, way too early in life. All right, lots of things going on. We got boys and girls basketball to talk about, high school-wise. Browns lose to the Chiefs. We'll certainly talk a little bit about that. As a matter of fact, I think Rich wants to talk about it right now. So let's go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline at 330-886-0813. Rich, I'm going to assume you're going to want to talk about yesterday's game.
Well, you know what? That was a hell of a game. Cleveland got outplayed for the most part, but as the Bills did, but the Bills won last week or this past weekend. I got a question.
Yeah.
That play where Hollywood Higgins was blasted helmet to helmet, and then the ball got jarred out. I thought helmet to helmet was illegal.
It is. But but unfortunately, that particular shot was missed, and what is and on top of that, and there's a couple of things with that particular play that I'm really hoping that the rules committee turns over a couple of new rules. First of all, fumbling out of bounds in the end zone. That is one of the stupidest rules I have ever seen in my life. And the only reason why it's never overturned is because it rarely happens. And in this particular case, it happened to the Browns. By rule, if a team fumbles the ball out of bounds through the end zone, the other team, the defensive team, gets the ball on their own 20-yard line. It's ludicrous. First of all, Kansas City never even tried to jump on the ball. They had nobody even touched the ball. The ball just simply scooted out of bounds. So my whole thing is, okay, what the NFL needs to do in this particular case is from now on, instead of 1st and 10 for the defensive team on their own 20-yard line, you move the ball back to the 20-yard line. And if that particular thing happened on 2nd down, then the offense has the ball on the opponent's 20-yard line, and it's 3rd down. If you did it on 3rd down, then it's 4th down. If you did it on 1st down, okay, then it's 2nd down. You move the ball all the way back to the 20-yard line. The 1st down markers don't change. And if it was 1st and goal on the 8-yard line and this happened and they fumbled the ball out of bounds, okay, then the offensive team gets the ball on the opponent's 20-yard line at 2nd and goal.
That sounds simple to me, and that was the game changer, Ron.
Well, listen, this game was lost in the first half, and we'll get into that in a little bit as well. As far as the helmet-to-helmet goes, the second part of this whole thing, look, Hollywood Higgins, he got the ball got jarred out of him. It was a helmet-to-helmet hit. The referees missed it. One of the things that the NFL needs to also come up with, along with the rule change, instead of giving the ball to the defense when a ball's fumbled out of the end zone, you move the ball back to the 20-yard line, you give it to the offense. What they need to do on the helmet-to-helmet hits, those need to be reviewable. They
Exactly.
need to be reviewable. I don't understand why they weren't reviewable from the start. I mean, we're all about, or at least the NFL is supposedly about, keeping everyone healthy. Well, good Lord, if everyone's supposed to be kept healthy, then you would think that if a referee missed the helmet-to-helmet, you should be able to review that, because that should have been 1st and goal for the Browns.
Agreed. In a time when everybody's they're doing concussion protocols and all the safety measures to keep everybody relatively safe in a violent game,
Yeah.
And that scooted by like someone flushing at the toilet. I was kind of stunned, but it is what it is,
Yeah.
And yeah, the Browns were outplayed, and they did. If I'm saying if it wasn't for that, the game was lost in the first half.
Well, the game was lost in the first half because the Cleveland Browns, and listen, I love Stefanski, and I think he's a fantastic coach. And I think that the Browns got the right decision with Stefanski, and I think Stefanski is the coach of the year without any question. But the guy does not have a perfect resume when it comes to play calling. This has happened multiple times this year. You have the best running attack in the National Football League. You have one of the best offensive lines in the National Football League. Why in the hell did Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt run a combined 6 times in the first half? And again, it's not like this hasn't happened before. And again, I love Kevin Stefanski, and I think that he is going to be a fantastic coach, and I think he did a fantastic job with the Browns. But there are times when Kevin Stefanski gets pass happy. And I said this yesterday, and a lot of people crucified me, and I'll say it right now because it's the damn truth. Baker Mayfield is a nice quarterback, but if you're expecting Baker Mayfield to do everything on his own, you're going to be exceptionally disappointed. Baker Mayfield needs a run-pass balance for Baker Mayfield to be a very good quarterback. Without that, he's an average quarterback.
Well, Kareem was invisible for 3 quarters. Yeah, go figure. Well, they brought him in the fourth quarter. He has fresh legs. Kind of past the point, I agree with you there. Also, some of our defensive play calling was I just couldn't figure it. Our linebackers were invisible.
Well,
oh my God!
I mean, Rich, they've been invisible for most of the year. The back 7 is trash. Even when Ward's in the lineup, the back 7 is trash. They need to get better defensively in order to make the to make the next step. Now, look, I mean, I said last week, okay, the Browns are going to need to have time possession. They're going to need to have Chubb and Hunt go for at least $140, maybe $150, and they're going to have to limit Kansas City to no more than 8 possessions. And of the 3, they only did one right, and that was they limited Kansas City to 8 possessions.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. The best running duo in the game, possibly, arguably.
No, they are the best running duo in the game. There's no question about that.
And you saw how much they used them yesterday. Also, hats off to Henny. The kid come in and did his job.
Yeah,
I'm not a Henny fan. I'm not a Henny fan by a long stretch.
Yeah,
but they let a 35-year-old rookie come in and smoke him.
3rd and 13, and they let him get 12 yards on a scramble. And then what I thought was the dumbest / genius move of the year, and it took a lot of stones to do this. 4th and 1, Henny somehow, some way gets the first down, and the game is over essentially. Because if they don't get a first down there, the Browns have the ball, and they only have half the field to work with, and they're down by 5. I'll take my chances with Cleveland. But look, I mean, the Browns had opportunities in the first half. First possession, 7 passes, 4 rushes, balanced. They got a field goal. Second possession, 6 passes, just 2 runs. They punted the ball. Third possession, 9 consecutive passes. Now, in fairness, they got the ball down the field. In fairness, they got the ball down the field. And in fairness, if Hollywood Higgins had hung on to the ball, it's a touchdown. But 9 catches, 0 runs, they turned the ball over. Second half, 3 straight passes, interception. They got their first touchdown, 3 passes, 5 runs. Lo and behold, they score a touchdown. Second possession, 50-50. Lo and behold, they got a touchdown. You see where I'm going with this?
Exactly, and it's not brain surgery. Well, you know what? Andy Reid and his coaching staff have a lot more horsepower, in their back pockets, and it showed yesterday.
Well, look, I mean, Mahomes had better play on Sunday, and I don't know if he's going to. I heard a statistic earlier this morning that in the regular season, somewhere between 55 and 60% of those that went into concussion protocol in the regular season, they weren't able to make the next game. So
I know one thing. I'm not a fan of his by a long stretch. I mean, he's a great player, and I wish no bad on any young man because that's a very violent game. But I felt really bad for him when he got up and he was staggered.
Oh yeah, he was out on his feet, it made me sick to my stomach when he started going to his feet, and then he was out on his feet, and an offensive lineman had to hold him, otherwise he would have fallen to the ground. It looked like he took a straight right hand from Tyson in his prime. I mean, he was out on his feet big time, and look, it made me sick to my stomach because obviously, as a Bills fan, I want to see a healthy Patrick Mahomes when these two teams play on Sunday night. I think it's going to be a fantastic game, and if Mahomes can play, I think it's going to be a great game on Sunday night.
Yeah, well, if he could play, how much is he really going to be there? Because who knows what really concussion protocol is? You have a neutral doctor there, and you got the team doctor. And they ask you a bunch of questions. Well, they can put you in any time they want.
Listen, they got to go through 5 stages, and the neutral doctor is very much a neutral doctor, and he has the final say on all of this. And I'll guarantee you that this guy isn't going to be bought. He's not going to be bribed because if something were to happen, God forbid, let's say that Mahomes isn't ready, and God forbid someone lays him out. And it's that much worse. You think this guy is going to be willing to put his entire career online if something were to? Oh, of course not. Nobody would. It's a doctor. Any doctor worth his salt would never do that. So that just, to me, that's if Patrick Mahomes is able to play on Sunday, he'll play. If he's not able to play, then it's Chad Henne against the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and Henne pulled a couple nice ones out yesterday. He wasn't in that long. I don't see that kind of production coming out against the Bills.
Yeah, well, here's a thing that people probably haven't heard in about 10 or 11 years. A Michigan guy beat an Ohio team.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go there, but thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since we've said that, but a guy, Michigan finally beat an Ohio team. There you go.
All right, buddy. Thanks for the vine, and I'll catch up with you.
All right, brother. See you. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. Yeah, I was disgusted. With the first half of the game, and I'm just like, come on, seriously? You get the two best combined. You get the best running game in the NFL, and they're only running the ball 6 times in the first half. That's absurd. But the third possession where Hollywood Higgins got his bell rung. The two things that bothered me, and I'll say it again. The only reason why the rule with ball gets knocked out of bounds, fumbled out of bounds, and it's goes through the end zone, whether it be the end line or the back of the end zone. Either way, ball goes through the end zone. By rule, and it's a stupid rule, by rule, the defense gets the ball on their own 20-yard line. So it's the dumbest rule I've ever seen in my life. What they should do is, okay, ball goes back to the offense, but we're putting the ball back to the 20-yard line. So let me give you a scenario. It's first and 10 from the 12-yard line, and they do this. And they throw the ball, and the guy fumbles the ball out of the end zone. And now it's going to be 2nd and 18 from the 20-yard line. First and goal from the 4. Fumble the ball out of the end zone. Well, now it's 2nd and goal from the 20-yard line. If it's 3rd down and you fumble the ball out of the end zone, well, now it's 4th down, the ball's on the 20-yard line. If you did it on 4th down, guess what? Now you can have the defense has the ball on the 20-yard line. But the idea that you're punishing an offense because they fumbled the ball out of the end zone when the defensive team didn't recover the ball, and in this case yesterday, didn't even touch the ball. It is absurd to have that rule. It's just absolutely absurd. Now, that didn't change the game. Let me be honest. It didn't change the game. I've said this for years, and I'll say it again. An official's call will never determine the outcome of a game. In Cleveland's case, their defense was garbage in the when it mattered, and offensively, they weren't going to the strength of their team. And the strength of their team is Chubb and Hunt. And they only went to them 6 times. And you only got 3 points. There's a correlation. There's a correlation there. I'll say it again. Baker Mayfield, fantastic quarterback, had a wonderful year. Baker Mayfield is an average quarterback with no running attack. He's an average quarterback without a running attack. He has to have a running attack. That's what makes Baker Mayfield a dangerous quarterback. Baker Mayfield cannot win games by himself. He needs a running game. That's what makes Baker Mayfield one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. When the offense is clicking, Chubb and Hunt are getting theirs, and now Baker's getting his because you have that dual threat. Without the threat of a running attack, and in the first half you only carried the ball 6 times, well, there really isn't much of a threat. You saw how many points the Browns got. It's just the truth, folks. It's just the truth. I thought the Browns, under the circumstances, they had their chances, and it should have been Buffalo and Cleveland in Orchard Park for the AFC Championship game. You let one get away, and unfortunately, you had plenty of chances when Mahomes got knocked out of the game and couldn't get the job done. So now Kansas City hosts Buffalo, and I say this because I want to see a great game. I hope Mahomes passes his concussion protocol, and I hope Mahomes plays. I think it'll be a fun game if Mahomes does play. So we can talk a little bit about that game if you wish. In the NFC, good Lord. And I was thinking about something while I was watching the Bucs and the Saints last night. And first of all, Drew Brees, if he retires, he's a top 10 quarterback of all time. There's no two ways about it. He goes to Canton. He's one of the all-time greats. No two ways about it. If he retires, and he probably should. He wasn't a very good quarterback this year. And last year, he was good, but he wasn't great. His career is pretty much over. If he decides to come back one more year, hey, It's on him, and it's on the Saints. Just like anything else, when you have a Hall of Fame talent, you don't publicly say, "Hey, we're moving on without you." You don't throw someone under the bus when they're a Hall of Fame talent. You simply have that conversation in private and say, "Look, Drew, we love you, but we're going to go another direction. We'd love for you to retire as a New Orleans Saint, but we're going to go in another direction here." And I think that Breeze he's got a career at NBC awaiting him, and I think Drew Brees will do a fantastic job there. And I think that he probably should walk away. So now you got Brady, who really didn't play all that great yesterday, but my God, when they needed him, he was there. And the Tampa Bay defense forced 3 turnovers, and Tampa Bay's offense turned them into touchdowns. Now all of a sudden, you got Tampa Bay taking on Green Bay. You got to go up to Lambeau. Wow. Old guard in the NFC, new guard in the AFC. We're going to have an old guard, new guard Super Bowl, and that'll be fun. That'll be all kinds of fun. All right, lots of basketball on the network today. As a matter of fact, we have girls basketball from East this afternoon. Warren JFK will be playing Youngstown East. That game gets underway at 1 o'clock. Girls basketball this afternoon from South Range. Poland takes on South Range. That is a 3:30 start. Cheney will be going to Austintown Fitch for a 5:30 start. LeBray is at Brookfield. That is a 5:30 start. Here are your 7 o'clock starts tonight. And again, the JV games will start at 5:30. Varsity games starting somewhere around 7 o'clock tonight. Martins Ferry is at Beaver Local. Louisville is at Canfield. Columbiana at Lisbon. Girard at Newton Falls. St. Thomas Aquinas at Ursuline. And West Branch is at Western Reserve. All of those games scheduled to start at 7 o'clock tonight. Again, the JV game starting at 5:30, and we'll see what happens there. We can talk a little bit about high school hoops if you wish. The Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference, we got some standings in the MVAC. We can definitely have some fun with that as well. Dana Balish will be coming up at 1 o'clock, and we'll get his take on what went down in the weekend. Did have 2 basketball games played yesterday. High school hoops played on a Sunday, which you normally don't see, but again, with COVID, trying to get as many games in as humanly possible. I'm not really that excited about any kind of sporting event scholastically on a Sunday. But having said that, there were 2 games. Medina beat Cheney, and Massillon, Washington, the Massillon. That would be the Massillon Tigers. They knocked off Boardman in overtime. So both of our area teams went out of the area. Cheney losing to Medina and Boardman losing to Massillon, Washington in overtime. And both of those games entertaining from what I understand. So congratulations to Cheney and to Boardman on 2 outstanding efforts. I think Cheney lost by 5. Boardman lost in overtime, I want to say by 3. But Sunday basketball, high school basketball, not really all that in favor of that. But like I said, it's a weird year because you're trying to get as many games in as humanly possible. And for Cheney, they haven't played very many games this year. So they're going to try to get as many of their 22-game schedule as humanly possible. And that's kind of a perfect lead-in to the boys and girls standings in the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference, the Gray and the Scarlet tier. Keep in mind, the Gray tier, for the girls and the guys, you have 7 teams in the Gray tier. It'll be 8 next year when Garrettsville Garfield joins this league. But of the 7 teams, 5 of them are located in Trumbull County. The other 2, well, 1 is in Mahoning and 1 is in Columbiana County. Crestview has played 11 games. They've played half of their season in boys basketball. Camel has played 10 games. So Crestview and Camel, pretty decent shape. Here we are, January the 18th. You're halfway through the season. You could probably finish your season and not have a problem with it. The other 5 teams in the conference are in Trumbull County. And here's the amount of games that these teams in Trumbull County have played to this point. LeBray has played 5 games. Liberty has played 3. Newton Falls has played 2. Brookfield has played 5. Champion has played 6. Now, there's a very good chance that you're going to get the regular season in. So if you get the regular season in, LeBray has played 3 non-conference games. So if you get the regular season in 12 games, 7-team conference, you're playing 6 teams 2 times, that's 12 games. If you get your regular season games in, the conference games in, LeBray would then have 15 games. Liberty would have 12. Newton Falls would have 13. And Brookfield would have 15. Champion would have 16. I'm sure that LeBray and Liberty, Newton Falls, and Brookfield are going to have non-conference games. Now, Brookfield has played 3 non-conference games. Newton Falls has played 1. LeBray has played 3. And Liberty has not played any. But everyone should be in pretty decent shape. I don't think you're going to get 22 games in if you're a Trumbull County team. But like I said, if you can get somewhere between 15 to 20 games, 15's the low end. You'd probably, in a perfect world, want to get to about 16, 17. 18 would be a great number. You go to the girls' standings, and again, 5 of the 7 teams are Trumbull County. Crestview has played 13 games. They're in Columbiana County. They've played 13 games. As a matter of fact, they have played 8 non-conference games. So they're probably going to get their 22-game season in. Camel has played 10 games this year, 7 non-conference games. They might be able to get their 22 games in. Liberty has played 5 games, 4 in conference, 1 non-conference game. LeBray has played 8 games, 5 conference, 3 non-conference. Brookfield has played 6 games, 3 in the conference, 3 non-conference. Champion has played 3 games, all in the conference. Newton Falls has played 4 games, all in the conference. Keep in mind, if you play the entire conference, which is what you're supposed to do, you're looking at 12 games. You're looking at 12 games in this particular conference. Liberty right now has played 1 non-conference game, so they're at 13 games right now. LeBray has played 3 non-conference games, so you'd be looking at 15 games. Brookfield has played 3 non-conference games. You'd be looking at 15 games. Champion and Newton Falls have only played conference games, so you'd be looking at right now 12 games. Assuming that everyone gets their conference games in, which is that's the plan for the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference. You're going to play your conference games. In the Scarlet tier, Waterloo and McDonald and Mineral Ridge are the 3 teams that are outside of Mahoning County. McDonald and Mineral Ridge are in Trumbull County, and I believe Waterloo is in Portage County, if I'm not mistaken. Springfield has played 10 games this year. They're in pretty good shape. McDonald, 10 games. Lowellville, 9 games. Western Reserve, 9 games. Sebring, 11 games. Everyone's in pretty decent shape. Waterloo has played 5 games. 1 non-conference and 4 conference games. McDonald, to their credit, has played 7 games. They're actually doing pretty well, and I think that they'll be able to get as close to 22 as humanly possible. They've played 4 non-conference games and 3 conference games. Mineral Ridge has played 5 conference games and 1 non-conference game for their 6-game schedule. In the Scarlet tier, McDonald girls have played 4 league games, 2 non-league games. They've got 6 games so far this year. Mineral Ridge has played 4 league games, 2 non-league games. They have 6 games in this year. Jackson Milton has 12 games in, 9 conference, 3 non-conference. Western Reserve has 9 games in total, 5 in the conference, 4 outside of the conference. Lowellville, who's had some problems with COVID, they have 5 conference games in and 2 non-conference games for a grand total of 7 games played this year. Waterloo in Portage County, and they've had the same problems as Trumbull County. 4 league games and 1 non-league game, so they have 5 games total. Springfield has had their issues with COVID, trying to take on teams. And unfortunately, their schedule's been littered with teams that have had COVID problems. They've played 5 conference games and 2 non-conference games, giving them 7 for the season. Sebring has played 8 conference games, 3 non-conference games. So Sebring has already played half of their season. And they are over halfway through a 14-game league schedule. And again, keep in mind, this is an 8-team conference because they have the full 8 teams, where the gray tier does not have the full 8 teams. They'll get the 8th team next year with Garrettsville-Garfield. The boys and girls Scarlet Division, they're going to play their league schedule, so everyone will have at least 14 games. And again, for the 3 teams that are non-conference, Waterloo right now has played 1 non-conference game. Now, add on to the fact that you're going to play your conference, that's 15 games. McDonald's in great shape. They've played 4 non-conference games, so they're going to play 18 games. They're going to play 18 games this year because you're going to play your entire conference, and that's 14 games, and McDonald's only played 3 of them right now. So they had 11 games left in conference, which means they're going to have 18 games. That's going to be a solid job by McDonald. Mineral Ridge has played 5 conference games. They got 9 games left in the conference. They've already played 6 games this year. That's 15 games if they don't add another non-conference opponent. And again, if you can get minimum 15 games, you've done a pretty good job. You've done a pretty good job. You look at the standings. In the boys, let's go to the Scarlets here first. Springfield is 5-1. Waterloo is 4-0. McDonald is 3-0. Jackson Milton 3-3, Lowellville 2-3, Mineral Ridge 2-3, Western Reserve 1-4, Sebring is 0-7. In the gray tier, LeBray is 2-0, Crestview and Liberty are both 2-1, Newton Falls is 1-0, Brookfield's 1-1, Champion 1-2, and Camel is 0-4. In the girls' Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference gray tier, Liberty is showing the way with a 3-1 record. LeBray is 3-2. Brookfield and Champion are tied at 2-1. Newton Falls is 2-2. Crestview is 2-3. Camel is 0-3. In the Scarlet tier, McDonald is 4-0. Jackson Milton is 6-3. Western Reserve 4-1. Lowellville is 3-2. Waterloo is 2-2. Springfield 2-3. Sebring is 1-7, and Mineral Ridge is 0-4. So those are the up-to-date standings in the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference, both the gray and the scarlet tier. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll take some phone calls. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. It's a Monday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Youngstown. Browns fans, how you feeling? Look, it's a hell of a year. Hell of a good year for the Browns. Lot to be excited about for the future, but, man, you let one get away yesterday. You let one get away. Some poor play calling in the first half. Defense that just didn't get it done when you needed to stop. You didn't get it done. You let one get away. And if you're a Kansas City fan, you hope and pray Patrick Mahomes passes concussion protocol this week. I heard an interesting statistic. Anywhere from 55 to 60% of the players that were concussed in the regular season were not able to play the next week because they did not get past concussion protocol. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens this week. And again, concussion protocol, it's not up to the Kansas City Chiefs team doctor. It's going to be up to an independent doctor. And I'm going to tell you right now, the independent doctor is not going to put up his or her career just to see somebody play. I hope Mahomes is able to play, because I think that a healthy Patrick Mahomes against Buffalo would be an unbelievable matchup. I think it would be a fun game on Sunday night in Arrowhead. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see on that. But I can tell you this, it's going to be old guard in the NFC title game. You've got the perceived all-time great in Tom Brady against a guy that many believe is the best quarterback, or at least the most talented quarterback to ever play the game. Be a fun game. It'll be a fun game. And then on the AFC, you got two young guys, one that already has a Lombardi trophy, and another guy who's trying to get his team back into the Super Bowl for the first time in about, 28 years. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Championship Sunday. The NFC game will be first. The AFC game will be second, which I think is kind of weird. I think it would be the other way around, but that's not how it was determined. So the NFC will go first, and then the AFC game on Sunday night from Arrowhead. All right, 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit. Stick around. More to come on this Monday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
Boy
to
is
curb
recovering from a broken.
Around our valley.
Community in Niles.
We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect
It's important for everyone. No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County
Before
Court.
they become life threatening.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends: shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of a traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. With you till 3 o'clock, at which time DJ and the boys will take you through the 3 o'clock hour with the Monday edition of Power Hour. And that will be coming up at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Again, as we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day today, MLK Day today, plenty of basketball that is being played this afternoon as schools are out today. Plenty of basketball that is being played this afternoon, and plenty of NBA games that were supposed to be played, and some of them are going to be played this afternoon. I know the Cavs were supposed to play Washington, yesterday and today. Both games were canceled because of COVID issues within the Washington Wizards. So those games were canceled, and the Cavs will be back in action on Wednesday against the New Jersey Nets. By the way, the Cavs right now are looking to dump off Kevin Porter Jr. Unfortunately, Kevin Porter Jr., he had a scene on Friday, apparently. Friday, he came into the Cavs locker room and saw that his locker was replaced. Taurean Prince, who was acquired from the Nets in that gigantic trade that sent Harden to the Brooklyn Nets, KPJ's locker was replaced and he was moved, and his space was moved to an area away from where his previous locker was. And he went over to, not knowing that his locker had been moved, he went to his locker, which is now Taurean Prince's locker, and he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy at all. And apparently he started yelling and throwing food. And the general manager went over there, and he started going after the general manager, yelling and screaming at him. And Kobe Altman and J.B. Bickerstaff had to come out of the office, and they're trying to calm down Kevin Porter Jr., and the Cavs were just like, fine, we're going to try to get rid of you. And apparently, according to inside sources, they tried to trade him all weekend, excuse me. Pretty good chance he gets released if they can't trade him. Tough situation, a really tough situation. And, it's volatile, but very talented kid. But, man, he's volatile. And I think he has played himself and talked himself out of Cleveland. And if somehow somebody can corral him and settle him down and have him grow up, I think KPJ can be a really good player. But the outburst, I should say, that he had on Friday was, from what I was told, it was scary. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Emmanuel, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on?
How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man.
Well, first of all, Porter was on his last leg when he got pulled over, and they're not. I'm not a Cleveland fan, but I agree with them that they're not playing anymore. They're not going to have any more Manziels or Gordons and stuff like that in Cleveland anymore. That just ain't going to happen.
Here's the thing with Porter. He was involved in a one-car accident over in Canfield on 76 in November, and he was arrested. He was charged with an improper handling of a firearm in a motor vehicle. Now, the reason why he was charged was because Kevin didn't have the papers for the gun. And it wasn't even his gun. It was his mother's gun. And his mom had the papers. So that's when she basically said to the police officers, that's not even his gun. That's my gun. Here are the papers. That's when they dropped the charges. Now, I don't know why the hell Kevin Porter Jr. was in our neck of the woods. You're a long way from home. You're an hour and a half plus away from, an hour and a half away from Cleveland. What the hell are you doing in the Youngstown area? That would be my big question. And the fact that he had marijuana in his car is another a red flag. But yeah, I mean, he got to grow up. That's it. He's got to grow up. And if he doesn't, then he's not going to have an NBA career because nobody's going to put up with this.
Okay, but I've been listening to you all morning, Ron, and I wanted to call later, but you're making my head explode. Now, what is your reason again why they should change this fumble rule?
It's the defense didn't recover the ball. Why do you reward the defense with the ball when, first of all, they don't recover it? 9 times out of 10, they don't even touch the ball last. Why are you rewarding the defense by giving them the ball if the ball's fumbled out of bounds when they didn't even touch the ball or make an attempt to recover the ball? It should be the ball should go back to the offense, but put the ball back on the 20-yard line.
Well, the definition of a fumble means no one has possession of the ball, right?
Yeah, but the team that touched the ball last should have the ball if the ball goes out of bounds.
But wait a minute. So you're telling me, right, that offense fumbles the ball on the, they fumble the ball.
Yes.
And they should get the ball back because it went out of bounds like through the end zone?
In every scenario except for the end zone, the offense gets the ball back. In every scenario, if the ball is fumbled out of bounds outside of the end zone, the offense gets the ball.
I understand that, but the coach says, and he's not dogging on the player. He's saying we're looking for a first and goal, but he's not going to argue with a player, trying to score like that. But the smart thing to do is just go down right there. Wouldn't you think?
Well, yeah, but he's trying to get a touchdown, and I don't blame him for that. I mean, he stretched out.
I'm not blaming him, right? Yeah. But if he doesn't extend the ball, I mean, I might could understand a little bit if he wasn't trying to extend the ball. If he was just running and he got hit, and the ball goes through the end zones, then maybe you might have but this guy is extending, and what's to stop anybody else from trying every time they get close to the end zones, just stick the ball out because if it goes through the end zones, you get it back on the 20. You can't do that, Ron.
But Emmanuel, why would you do that? If you have the ball on your own 8-yard line and a guy goes into the end zone and he fumbles the ball and he just kicks it out of bounds, who in their right mind would want to do that? Because you're going to lose 12 yards out in the deal.
But you still have possession and you can kick a field goal.
Well, I understand that, but you should still have possession anyway, because any other time,
you don't have possession.
Emmanuel, any other time the ball goes to the offense. If the ball goes out of bounds outside of the end zone, it goes to the offense. Why the hell would the ball go to the defense if the ball goes out of the end zone?
Because it's the end zone. The end zone is different.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not different. It's not different.
We're going to disagree because you can't start off wrong and then they're right. He actually fumbled the ball. But the thing that is bothering me, and you will understand this, right? You may not agree with me, but you will understand what I'm getting ready to say. Now, this really, truly bothers me. Now, I don't think there was any malicious intent whatsoever. But you can't be doing that Larry Zabisco swinging neck breakers. Now, Mahomes, he didn't have a concussion. His head didn't hit anything. He got choked out.
No, he has Emmanuel, he has a concussion. They already said he has one.
I understand what you're saying, right? I understand what you're saying, but I'm telling you what I know, what I've seen, because I've been choked out before.
Okay.
The arm went just watch it. The arm went around the neck, and he spun it like Larry Labisco doing a spinning neck breaker. Now, you should not be able to. It was, I should say, but he's okay now. It was funny, right?
Listen, what would have been hilarious is if Mac Wilson goes, "If you smell what the Mac is cooking."
But see, you can't. No, I'm not saying there was any malicious intent whatsoever, but you can't tackle the head. And if you look what he did, he went around the neck, locked in the neck, and spun him around. That's a neck breaker, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, if we're going to go into the to the WWF rules of a neck breaker, I suppose that would probably be the very definition.
And I don't think that should be allowed, but it very seldom happens, but I don't think that should be allowed in football. You should not be able to tackle the head.
Well, first of all, Wilson, you might have said a spinning neck breaker, but you would also give another WWE, WWF little determination on another move. He was DDT'd. He went face first into the ground, hence the reason why he has a concussion right now. His head jammed into the ground.
No, it didn't. I mean, and another thing, because I'm talking about the spinal cord, right? You cannot grab that neck and pull that neck up. I thought he was paralyzed. I wasn't worried about him having a concussion. You know, the things that they did, he did to his neck. When you wrenched it and pulled it, you can't tackle like that, man. That's like that Predator stuff. You can't do that.
Well, I mean, look, he did, and it wasn't a 15-yard penalty. It's perfectly legal. I would rather him nail him from below the head and drive him into the ground. But I mean, he was able to tackle him. It wasn't a dirty hit by any stretch of the imagination. It was his way of trying to get Patrick Mahomes down. And his head did. His head either went into the ground or it went off of the football, but it nailed something, and then he went into the ground. And I think that was he choked out and did he have a concussion? I think we're both right on this. I do believe that he does have a concussion. I know that. That's what the doctor said, and he's in concussion protocol. Could he have been choked out? Yeah, I think you can probably make a good case of it, because the one thing that scared me was when he got back up and it looked like he took a straight right hand from Tyson in his prime. He wasn't getting back up without the offensive lineman's help. If no one was there, he would have tried to go up and then would have went back down again.
I'll tell you from experience, that's what you look like when you choked out. I remember I used to wrestle in high school.
Yeah.
And I was beating this guy, and I started to show off. I was a big guy, 185, 187.
Yeah.
I was a big guy, Big guys don't usually use their legs. They do more leverage and stuff. But I'm whooping this guy pretty good. So I'm finna show off. I got him down, I jump up and I lock my leg in to do the figure four, and I go to reach over to bring his arm back and swing him over on the grapevine. Well, I did something that all you wrestlers know. You never go above the shoulder blade. I went above the shoulder blade. This guy reached back and grabbed the back of my neck and bent me in half and pulled me over, and I was glad to get pinned because I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened to me. The same thing, I mean, when after I was pinned, I got up and kind of collapsed. This man was choked out. I know it when I see it. He went around that neck, and he probably had force when he hit him around that neck. You just can't be doing that no more. You just can't tackle the head. That's all.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. I mean, it was no malicious intent, but that definitely needs to be looked into.
Well, there's, I'm sure it will be, because Mahomes is the future of the NFL. I mean, he's the closest thing right now to being the next great thing in the NFL. So I'm sure that the NFL will undoubtedly look at that and probably throw down a new rule. Now, but get in line with that, because the two rules that need to be changed in the worst way is the fumble out of the end zone garbage, and the other one is, if you're going to be serious about the health and welfare of the kids and of the grown men on this field, then you have to be able to have reviewable evidence on helmet-to-helmet hits.
I understand that, but the question is this. If he's not, I don't know, it's stretching out like that for a touchdown. Is that a football move? If
of
he's
course
running,
it's a football move.
But if he's not leaning forward like that, then it's not helmet-to-helmet.
Yeah, well, I mean, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd eat till Christmas morning. I mean,
Yeah,
that is a
yeah.
football move. If you hit helmets, man, that should have been a flag. It should have been a flag, and the Browns should have had the ball first and goal.
it's just amazing that the great ones like the Jerry Rices and the Paul Warfield and the Randy Moss and those guys, they never did that. They never fumbled the ball on the 1 foot line.
Well, then, yeah, that's a couple of them did, but not very often. Not very often.
Okay, my brother. Thanks for taking my call, but like I say, man, no more swinging neck breakers, my brother. I'll see you later.
See ya. 330-886-0813. Look, I mean, I agree. The tackling was a little too high. I don't think it was dirty by any stretch of the imagination. It was just, Wilson was trying to get a piece of Mahomes and trying to tackle him by any way that he possibly could. I didn't think he had any maliciousness toward it, And again, I think he was DDT'd. Either into the football or into the ground. That's why he got the concussion. And was he choked out? Yeah, he could have been choked out. I mean, yeah, he could have been. No two ways about that. But he does have a concussion. He definitely has a concussion. That is for certain. We're going to take a timeout because on the other side we get to chime in with Dana Balish from TV 21. We'll get Dana's view on the weekend, and we'll talk about basketball and. Made mention, we've got the MVAC boys and girls standings, and, the teams outside of Trumbull County, they're in pretty good shape. Teams in Trumbull County, they're going to have a lot of games that are going to be needed to be played in the next 4 or 5 weeks, and hopefully we'll be able to get all that stuff taken care of. We'll talk with Dana about that and about the Browns game and a bunch of other stuff. Stick around. It is a Monday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
It's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Local teams are heating up the hardwoods, and you can keep up with all the action on and off the court with Five Guys Hoop News all season long on 21 Sports.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point. Hey, you stop that right now. Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you. Let's go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline where we find 21 Sports Director Dana Balish. Dana, how are you today, sir?
Doing well, Ron. Yourself?
Doing well. All right, so I have the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference standings with the boys and the girls and the gray and scarlet tier. And, as I thought, when we look at the standings, Crestview and Campbell, the two teams in the gray tier, that are away from Trumbull County. They've got 11 and 10 games respectively in their season in the boys. Crestview girls have 13 games played. Camel girls have 10 games played. So those two teams are doing well. The Trumbull County schools, they're anywhere from 5 to 8 games played to this point. We were told that the conference games, not only in the MVAC, but also the Northeast 8, the EOAC, everyone's going to be playing all their conference games. That's the number one priority. For the schools in Trumbull County, conceivably, Dana, how many games do you think these schools are going to be able to play before tournaments?
Well, Ron, they're going to try to play as many as they can. I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. These coaches are going to do what they can, but you also have to look out to make sure you're getting the most bang for your buck. And if you're playing 3 or 4 games a week, that's a lot. But I think coaches are going to be, very cautious with that. It's so hard to say because, things can happen, where a team doesn't play or this doesn't play. And I don't know if there's a magic number. I think, look, the goal of every athletic director is to play all the conference games. But if they can't get those in, I think, again, I talked about it a couple of weeks ago, if these teams go to the tournament and they're eliminated from the tournament early, then there's a chance they could play those conference games. But, schools are just looking to play games. I mean, I know last week there were several games canceled. I know this week, there could be several games canceled again this week. So, it's a day-by-day process we're in.
Dana, let me ask you, if all the conference games have been played, and let's say that a team has 16 games on their schedule, but they've played their entire conference, whether it's boys or girls basketball, and they get eliminated in the tournaments, do you see a team possibly wanting to play 2 or 3 more games so they can have a little bit closer to a full season?
I think that's going to be left up to every coach, Ron. And again, I'll go back to what I said. And I'm not going to take anything away from conference championships, but conference championships today is not like they were 15 to 20 years ago, where they were sacred back then. Now it's okay, we're conference champs. I mean, the big thing is let's go to the tournament and see what happens. I could not name conference champions last year in these conferences, because I just don't think conference championships are as big as they once were. And I just think that's the world we live in today. And this has nothing to do with COVID. I mean, let's go to football, Ron. I mean, when we would go talk to coaches 15 years ago, the majority of coaches would say, our number one goal is to win a conference championship. Now, not even a third of the coaches say that. They say our goal is to get to the postseason. So I don't know if conference championships, have as much notoriety as they once did. And I'm not trying to. I mean, I'm just. That's kind of the way we approach things. That's kind of the way, the world we live in today. I don't know how much conference championships mean anymore.
As we go into the tournament in about 5 weeks for the girls, 6 weeks for the boys, I had a conversation with Doug Chapin from the Vindicator and the Tribune Chronicle, and he said based on the fact of what they did in the fall with volleyball and soccer, they are going to do 2 districts combining into one supersized district. In volleyball and soccer, they went to the north instead of going to the west. So is there the possibility that we pretty much should know, in boys, Division 4, it should be Struthers and Grand Valley District. Division 3, Salem and Warren Harding districts combining. But Division 2, everyone plays in the Boardman District. All of our Division 2 programs in the 3-county area, they're playing in the Boardman District. Do we go with the school to the north or the district to the north of us up and around the Cleveland area, or does the OHSAA and the Northeast Board say, hey, you guys are, instead of going north, you're going to go to the west, and you're going to be playing in the Canton or the Akron district? How are they going about this, Dan?
You know what, Ron? I really don't think it matters, to be quite honest, because let's go back to 2 years ago or whatever. You could have the Harding district and the Salem district. Those teams are going to advance to a regional, and possibly play each other anyway. So I don't think it's a big deal, that they're combining districts. They're just doing it earlier, than later. So, teams that I don't care if you go teams to the north, to the south, you're going to see these teams anyway because, the Salem district, the Harding district in Division III were, they went to the same regional. The Harding district or the Howland district and the Struthers district went to the same regional. The Boardman district, whether it was Akron, or whoever else is in that region, went to that region. So I don't think things are changing. I just think that they're combining, okay, but in reality, it's the same thing. So whether Division II goes to Cleveland or, Solon or wherever, I don't think it matters because those are the same districts that go to the regionals anyway.
Well, the one thing that will be a little bit different is if a team decides to go to a team that would normally be in the Salem district, they decide, hey, we have a better path to go win a district championship up in the Warren district. So we're going to go into the Warren district, and they might play some teams that you wouldn't normally play.
Have that choice.
What's that?
That's going to be up to the Northeast District Board to decide where these teams go. The teams can't pick that.
Well, if you're seeded, it depending on how you're seeded, there's going to be teams that are going to be moved about.
Well, but again, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. Whether you're the 16th seed and you're playing the number 1 seed, if you're the 16th seed and went all the way through, you're going to face those teams anyway in the regional. So, they're just making the brackets bigger, probably. And again, I don't know why, to be honest with you. I mean, and I guess the reason for that is they may be having trouble finding neutral sites from districts who want to host these games. But as far as I mean, okay, let's say you're Louisville Aquinas, where you're used to playing in the Salem district, and you got to go to Warren. Well, you're going to have to go to Warren anyway to face if you would go all the way through. So I don't think it's a big deal. I kind of like the idea, to be honest with you.
But it could certainly mean, much like in soccer, when we had 2 teams winning the districts and playing each other. Now would it have happened? Probably would have happened. At the end of the day, it probably would have happened. But we had two local teams winning the districts, and they got to play each other in the regionals, which was pretty cool. So I'll be curious to see what happens in Division II, because obviously you have a very good Struthers team, you have a very good Cheney team, you have a very good Ursuline team, a very good West Branch, Salem. There's a lot of teams. Poland is another one. There's a lot of teams, and if you go and put another district in, I'll be curious to see how many teams are from the Boardman district are going to remain in the Boardman district.
Well, I think that's going to. I think, Ron, that's going to stay. I think the only possibility, and again, I don't have the list of teams, but I think West Branch is probably the only team that may kind of squander over to the west because they're on that side of Mahoning County. But your Cheneys, your Hubbards, your Polands, whoever's in Division II, I don't think they're going to go that far to play, to be honest with you. Although, I mean, you just don't know. I mean, but I don't think this is a big deal. I think this is a case where the state wants to say, okay, this is what we want to do, and this is how we could kind of do it a little bit better. And Ron, I wouldn't be surprised if this formula stays, when things get back to normal.
Well, and maybe you can speak on this, Dana. I don't think this had anything to do with COVID.
Oh, I think it does, Ron, to be honest.
Okay.
With you.
All right.
I think it does. I think the state is having trouble finding regional sites. I think they're having trouble finding sites where fans will be permitted and maybe fans won't be permitted. I think this has a lot to do with the current situation that we're in right now. I think that This is something that, they want to make sure that families, parents can go see their kids. That's the number one priority. If that's not possible, then they got to go back to step 2 and maybe a step 3. But to my understanding, they want to make sure that at least parents and guardians can go see their kids play. And there's some schools locally, Ron, where that's still not possible.
Yeah, it's been very inconsistent, to say the least, because there are places where they're bringing in more than just parents and guardians, and then there's other places where they're not even doing that. So it's been very inconsistent, to say the least. 21 Sports Director Dana Ballas joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Lost weekend for the YSU men up in Oakland. They lose to Oakland 2 times, 3-7. Now the good news for the Penguins, the fact that the 10 games that they have left, 8 of those 10 games will be played at Beagley. The bad news is, boy, they've buried themselves into a very, very deep hole right now.
Well, Ron, and obviously, the big question is Quisenberry coming back? And I think that's the question, that I asked Coach Calhoun last week. Quisenberry's working with a specialist down in the Dayton area near his home. That's a big question. And I know YSU beat Wright State without him on that Friday night, but, you come back and now you've lost 3 straight. He's a big cog to what you do, but if he's not coming back, then you gotta play with the guys you got with. And I think playing at home will help YSU. I mean, when you travel, that takes a lot out of you. So, but again, they just haven't been consistent. Their rotation hasn't been consistent. When one player has a great game on a Friday, he doesn't come back Saturday. So there's some questions with this basketball team, and I think there's a lot of answers that we don't have, and I don't know if Coach Calhoun has those answers right now.
YSU women took 2 up in Chicago from UIC, and after a 0-3 start, John Barnes has this team on a 3-game winning streak. They're back to 500, and a golden opportunity for the Penguins to take 2 more as their home this weekend.
Well, and again, they're playing a Robert Morris team that has had some COVID issues. So we've never seen Robert. Well, we've seen them, but this is the first time they're playing as a league member of the Horizon League. I'm sorry, not Robert Morris. They were playing Detroit. I'm sorry, I was a week ahead of myself. So again, it's just getting that rotation. I mean, the women have played 6 games or whatever it is, and no preseason games and no non-conference games. So, it's a free year, so to speak, because everyone's able to come back next year without penalty or anything. So, again, I just think it's the rotation. I think it's getting used to playing. I mean, there's been no consistency with any of these teams, to be quite honest, Ron. I mean, the men or the women. There's now the women have won 2 in a row, so maybe there's some consistency starting with them. But it's tough to get a read on these teams. It really is.
Dana Ballas, 21 Sports Director, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. All right, so you're a Browns fan. You've been a Browns fan most of your life. How satisfied are you with the season now that you can look back on this, with the season now being concluded? The Browns went 11-5, won a playoff game, lost yesterday to Kansas City 22-17. How satisfied were you with the season, and how bright is the future for this organization?
Well, you know what, Ron, here's the thing. Again, I'll go back to what I said. At the beginning of the year, if you would have said the Browns go 11-5, go to the playoffs, I'm certain every Browns fan would have taken that. So everything else was a bonus, in my opinion. You went 11-5. You lost a game to the Jets. You lost a game to the Raiders that you were in position, probably should have beat those teams. So that 11-5 now goes to 13-3. You probably win the division at 13-3. You did all this without, Odell Beckham Jr. for half the season. Your offensive line for the second half of the season was much aligned, and you were able to accomplish this. Everything else is a bonus. Am I disappointed? Ron, am I disappointed they lost? Yeah, but am I, it's not like, they were going to go to the Super Bowl and all this. Look, this was a year where, every January, I'm talking about who the Browns are going to hire as their next head coach, and I don't got to worry about that. I think the coaching staff will stay intact. I think Van Pelt will stay. I think Joe Woods will stay. Mike Prefer's going to stay. So the coaching staff, the heart and soul of the coaching staff will stay. If you get Beckham back, if you work on the offensive line a little bit, maybe grab a linebacker in free agency or something like that. I think this is a case now where, Ron, where twice now the Browns were on national TV and showed, they're back, so to speak. So I think you're going to see, maybe some free agents want to come to Cleveland now. And that wasn't the case over the last 15 to 20 years. So I wouldn't change much. And also, there was no spring, no spring training for this team. My concern is, okay, now everyone's going to put their eggs in one basket with the Browns like they did a couple of years ago with Baker and Freddie Kitchens, and that's my concern. So, look, if they pick the Browns to go 7-9 next year and third in the division, that's fine. But I think the expectations for this team are really, really huge. I think this is a team that, it can compete against the so-called big boys. Was it disappointing they lost? Sure, it was disappointing if you're a fan of the team. But am I distraught over it? No, because I'll go back. 11-5 in the playoffs. You knock off the Steelers and advance in the playoffs. You get to round 2. I mean, that's the season. No one should be disappointed, in my opinion.
Agreed wholeheartedly. Now, I got to ask, because we saw this, and it's an obscure rule, but we saw it rear its ugly head at probably the worst time. I hope the NFL is going to change this absurd rule that with an offense fumbling the ball out of the end zone results in the defense having the ball on their own 20-yard line. It's an absurd rule. It's been a rule that has just been a dumb rule for years and years and years. And the only reason why it doesn't rear its ugly head that often is because it doesn't happen that often. To me, I think that the perfect change of this rule is, okay, the offense fumbles the ball out of the end zone. The offense will now have the ball on the 20-yard line, and you basically lose that down. So let's say that you were on the 8, 2nd and goal, and this happened. Well, then now it's going to be 3rd and goal as the ball is moved back to the 20-yard line. If you were on the 25 or 30 or 40-yard line when this happened, then the ball's going to go back to the line of scrimmage, to the original line of scrimmage.
I think the competition committee will look at that, Ron. I think it happens far less. But, again, it was magnified yesterday because it was the only game on, and that sort of thing. It was a playoff game, and certainly that hurt the Browns. But you know what? It's a rule. I think the rule that you're going to see change maybe is not that rule. I think a rule that you're going to see changed is perhaps, and again, I'm not saying, Gene Steratore explained it very vividly yesterday. I mean, is the helmet-to-helmet contact. I think that's the rule because that's a safety factor.
Yeah, that has to be reviewable.
Well, I think that's what's going to be reviewable. This rule, I don't know if it has enough steam to be reviewed. Yes, it was magnified yesterday because of a playoff game, but I think if there is I think what has to happen is the replay official has to take a look like they do in college when it comes to targeting. And they don't use targeting in the NFL, but helmet-to-helmet contact. And I think if the replay official is able to kind of slow the game down and just say, hey, we need to take a look at this, I think, one, for safety, it's very, very important. Two, you have a play like that yesterday, you probably have offsetting penalties or whatever, and again, but you wouldn't have offsetting penalties, or you would have a penalty. But again, I think the replay official kind of has to look at that because Ron, where that official was standing, he's looking at, you got one guy in a split-second decision, looking at probably 4 to 5 different things. Does he have control? Is he inbounds? Did he cross the plane? And probably the last thing he's looking at is their helmet-to-helmet
Exactly,
contact.
Yeah.
So I think that's the rule that you're going to kind of see. That's the rule that I would like to kind of see who looked at. Look, it could be on any play. If you think there's helmet-to-helmet contact, the replay official needs to take a look at that. I mean, I know they want to speed up the games run and keep the games at 3.5 hours. But I think when it comes to safety, you really, really got to look at that.
No, I agree with that, and I think that should be the number one. That should be the number one priority right now. But getting rid of this absurd rule of fumbling out of bounds. Oh, that means you've lost control of the ball. We're going to give the ball to the defense. That's absurd. And that should be thrown out as well.
It's the rule, and that's the rule that the game is played with today. And, unfortunately, the ball didn't bounce the Browns' way.
Yeah, you're right.
Look, Ron, if the ball stays in bounds, there's no guarantee the Browns are going to recover it anyway. We don't know that.
Yeah.
We kicked out of the end zone. That's the rule. Did that lose the game? I mean,
no.
Did that have a part? Sure. I mean, that was that's a 10-point turnaround there because you get 7 there. And KC goes down and he kicks a field goal, so that's a 10-point swing there or a 7-point swing. So. That's different. But, I think, did that lose the game? No. The Browns had other opportunities to go down and score and take the lead, and they didn't take advantage of that.
No, and they had plenty of opportunities to beat Kansas City once Mahomes got knocked out of the game with a concussion. So, and they didn't take advantage of it. And, you punt the ball with 4 minutes left, backup quarterback, and you can't stop them. It is what it is. But I'm with you. 11-5. First of all, I thought this team would be 9-7, 10-6 at the absolute best, and you go 11-5. You win in Pittsburgh in a playoff game. As far as I'm concerned, there's no disappointment in any way, shape, or form with this team.
No, and I think again at the beginning of the year, if someone says 11-5, look, same thing next year, Ron. If they say, hey, you're going 11-5 and you're going to the AFC Conference Championship game, of course you're going to take that. And again, I think the Browns exceed expectations in 2020. Yes, they did. Now there's going to be a lot of expectations next year. They'll probably be picked to win the division. And what happened, 2 years ago when that happened, they went, right in the tank. And, I don't think Stefanski's going to let that happen. I think Baker has kind of proven himself. So, you see what happens. But there will be big expectations for this team next year.
No two ways about that one. Dana, always a pleasure, sir. Look forward to catching up with you next week.
Thanks, Ron.
You got it. Dana Ball is 21 Sports Director joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. The one thing that bothers me whenever someone says this, well, the Browns finished in third place. They're going to have a third-place schedule. Time out. There is no such thing. Okay. This is only in place for 2 games. Out of the 16-game schedule, this third place or second place or fourth place is only in 2 games. Everyone plays your divisional opponents twice, so that's 6 games. Every team in your division is going to be playing one division from the AFC, that's 4 more games, and one division from the NFC, that's 4 more games. That's 14 games that everyone's going to be playing. Not just your team. Everyone in the division is going to be playing 14 identical games. The only 2 games that you have on a third place, second place, fourth place schedule are the 2 games in each conference. I believe this year this coming year for the Browns, it'll be the AFC East and the AFC South, to which Cleveland is going to be playing Houston, and they're going to be playing New England because New England finished in third place. And by the way, that's a bad draw because New England is going to be a much better team in 2021. All right, let's get to the phone lines. Thanks for waiting. You're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on?
Hey, Ronnie. What's up, my man?
What's up, brother?
Hey, just wanted to congratulate you on the Bills and talk a little about the Browns. I didn't get to listen to most of the show, so I'm sure you went over all this, but just wanted to throw out a few points in the game yesterday. One, I couldn't believe that Kareem Hunt had 0 touches in the first half. I mean, that was blasphemous. I thought, maybe going back to Kansas City, I thought they were going to get him involved early and often. The fumble, touchback, the helmet to helmet. In real time, I didn't even think it was helmet to helmet until they slowed it down. But like you said, everybody, Bill Cowher at halftime, a lot of people agree that rule is just absolutely terrible. If anything, the offensive, whoever loses the ball, you should get the ball, at the 20-yard line or something like that. They got to look at that.
Yeah.
But the big thing for me was when they got back into the game, and it was 22-17, and Henny threw that interception in the end zone, and it was like they were giving the Browns the game. They were saying, "Here, take it." And Stefanski, they challenged the Tyreek Hill catch, and to me, it was clearly a catch. There has to be somebody on the sideline that's telling him. Listen,
well, here's what happens, and the replay guy who's in charge of all of this in Cleveland needs to lose his job over this.
Right.
And he's upstairs in the press box, and I know this because I've seen the replay booths and the coaches that are up there. They get the network feed. They get what everyone sees. So there were two plays where the guy clearly screwed up. The first one was the catch that was ruled a catch that was not in any way, shape, or form a catch. Now, you got to give Kansas City some credit because they went right up to the line of scrimmage. They knew that this was not a catch, but they played hurry up, and they wanted to sneak one by. Now, in that case, if I'm Stefanski, I'm throwing the red flag because, wait a second, these guys are doing hurry up. And they weren't doing hurry up before this. I'm calling BS. I'm going to throw the beanie out there. If the guy wasn't fast enough to tell him challenge, he should have thrown the beanie out there when they went 2-minute offense because they hadn't gone 2-minute offense until that point. The light bulb in his head should have gone off and said, they think this was an incomplete pass. Throw the challenge beanie and be done with it. The second one, that's on the guy upstairs. I mean, look, it was clear as day on the slow motion that it was a catch. It was off his thigh, but he kept it secured to his thigh and then brought it up to his breadbasket. That was as clear as day that it was a catch. That was absurd that this guy would tell Stefanski to challenge that. But no, it's upstairs. The replay guys, the guys for the respective teams are upstairs in the press box or in a separate area from the press box, and their job is to essentially tell the head coach, "Hey, you got to challenge that."
Right, and then And then the last thing was when they had the ball back and there was 4 minutes to go, they burned their second timeout because they lost it on the challenge. So then they burn a timeout with about four and change to go. The play clock's running down, and I'm screaming at the TV because if Kansas City gets the ball back, at least you have two timeouts and a 2-minute warning to get the ball back.
Yep.
But here, they burn a timeout. Once they got the ball back, I said, you get one first down, this game's essentially over. And they're burning timeouts. Then it's 4th and 9 after it was 3rd and 11, and they throw a 2-yard pass to Kareem Hunt. I'm thinking, okay, at this point, you got one timeout. You might as well go for it. If you don't get it, you hold them to 3. It's still a one-possession game because it's a 2-point conversion and a touchdown. It was just mind-boggling. It was there for the taking after that bad first half, and they couldn't get over the hump. And I felt like a lot of them calls, the timeouts and that, is where they lost it.
Yeah, here's the one thing, and this is going to sound foreign to a lot of people, but for me, and I love doing the numbers. I love trying to figure out, okay, where can I call a timeout where it's going to be effective and I'm not going to screw the timeout up. And correct me if I'm wrong, it was 3rd and 11 when they called the timeout, correct?
I think it might have been 2nd down. I think it was right before the Kareem Hunt when they threw it on 3rd and 11, or maybe I don't know. It was somewhere around there. But
what I would have done, I think it was 3rd and 11 because they had to call the timeout, and then coming out of the timeout, they threw the 2-yard pass and wound up being 4th and 9, and that's when they kicked the ball away. For me, I would have just sat back and said, the chances of me getting this first down are slim and none, and if I'm going to be punting the ball away anyway, I'm going to take the delay of game penalty, save my second timeout, and have it 3rd and 16, because the chances of me getting a 3rd and 11 and a 3rd and 16, it's not worth giving up my second timeout over. I'll gladly sit back and go, okay, you know what? I screwed up. We'll take the delay of game. I'm not going to be burning this second timeout because I'm going to probably have to punt to you anyway, and I want to keep this second timeout just in case I have to call timeouts in order for my defense to get the ball back to my offense. And I'm not picking on the Browns. This is in any scenario. The timeouts in the second half when you are trailing are so damn important that for me, if I'm screwing up midway through the fourth quarter and the play hasn't come in, I just as soon take the delay of game penalty and save my timeout than burn my timeout and try to get everything back in order again. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Ronnie, I absolutely agree with you 100%. Listen, was it a great year for the Browns? Absolutely. Would any one of us Browns would have taken it 11-5, getting to the AFC divisional? Absolutely. But when it was there for the taking and Mahomes goes down, it just hurts that much more. And, you know, I'm not just picking Buffalo because Kansas City played us, because I think Kansas City's the best team in the league. But I think Buffalo can beat them, and I hope they will, Ronnie, for Buffalo, you know, for the fans' sake and people like you, because us fan bases that haven't had a win in a long time, you know, people should win like that every once in a while. So I'm praying for Buffalo for you, Ron.
Listen, I like our chances on Sunday with or without Mahomes. I like Buffalo's chances. I think it's
17 points.
I think it's a close game. I think it's a very close game if Mahomes plays. But I like our chances. I really like the way the Bills are playing right now. It's not been perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Saturday's game offensively was not perfect in any way, shape, or form. It wasn't. And I think the wind had an awful lot to do with it. But Leslie Frazier's game plan to shut down Lamar Jackson and that offense was a masterpiece that I have never seen. And it's been a long time since I've seen that kind of a masterpiece defensively from the Bills. I loved every minute of Saturday's game.
Hey, Ronnie, one last thing for Cleveland with the draft. The draft's in Cleveland this year. I'm thinking about going, but what do you think? Mostly a lot of the draft picks being defense this year for Cleveland.
I think the entire draft should be defensively.
I do too, and I'm going to tell you this: Denzel Ward. I feel like Denzel Ward's a lot of hit and miss. He's hurt a lot of the year, and you know there's a lot of these balls lately, especially yesterday when they were throwing to Tyreek Hill. It's like you're a cornerback, you got to turn your head, and these cornerbacks nowadays, nobody wants to play the ball.
He had a bad day. He had a real bad day yesterday. I don't think he's as good as everyone says he is. I think that he's tough, but I don't think he's anywhere close to the quote elite level that people think he is. And let me put it to you this way: he's no Tre'Davious White.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. And Tre'Davious White made second team All-Pro. Denzel Ward is not anywhere resembling Tre'Davious White. He's good, but he's not that good.
Yeah, I think if they get some secondary help and maybe another pass rusher, a linebacker, I think they'll be good. But I'm with you. I think all defense. What do you think they do with OBJ?
Honestly, it's look, I mean, the way the team played, and Odell Beckham Jr. has a pretty decent market. I mean, could you trade him? Absolutely you could. Could you get some extra draft picks? Now, I don't think you're ever going to get a first for him. I don't think that's going to ever happen. But if someone were to offer, say, a second and a fifth, I'll take it. And if that's an extra second and an extra fifth in this draft, and that means more bodies coming in. Yeah, I'll take it. And let's not forget, it's not that Cleveland doesn't have any money left. Cleveland's got plenty of money, plenty of cap space left. Where if they want to go out and get some offensive line help, if they want to go out and get some depth in the receiver. If they want to go out and get some depth along the offensive and defensive lines, some depth, or get a veteran type of guy at linebacker. But I mean, it's Cleveland's future is really, really bright right now. But the big thing, and I said this, Baker Mayfield is not the type of quarterback that's going to do all of it on his own. He has to have a running attack in order for him to be a successful quarterback. You saw it in the first half. They only scored 3 points in the first half, and they only ran the ball 6 times in the first half. There's a correlation here, and that's not the first time Stefanski did this, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't understand I think it was 18 yards total rushing in the first half. Baker had 6. Chubb had 12. Kareem Hunt had 0 touches. It's just, to me, sometimes I can't believe some of the things that they do, because the bread and butter is the run game. I thought for sure, I told everybody going into the game, I thought Hunt and Chubb would have over 150 yards combined. I thought Kansas City's defense wasn't that good. I thought they would run all over them, and I thought they would open up the play action. But, hey, Ronnie, I'm going to get going, and thank you for taking my call, buddy.
All right, brother, appreciate it. And I agree with you, by the way. Kansas City's defense didn't impress me yesterday. Not at all. Now, obviously, I'm hoping for a much better game climate-wise than Saturday night in Buffalo, because that wind was serious. Oh, God, that wind was, man, was that wind serious. I mean, it was 20-plus mile an hour, and the gusts were pretty severe as well. It was not a good night to pass the ball, and it showed for both quarterbacks. If Kansas City has a repeat day like yesterday, I really like Buffalo's chances on Sunday night. Now, unfortunately, the weather forecast, and we're 6 days out, but the weather forecast is not very pretty for the game. Rain showers on Sunday during the day with a high around 50. Rain showers early mixing with snow showers late. A low of 29. So it's going to be raining. And I don't think you're going to get the mixed bag of treats until probably after midnight. But again, this forecast is 6 days out. A lot can change between now and Sunday. But if it's a dry track, if it happens to be a dry track like yesterday, I love Buffalo's chances. And not to say that they're going to win. Look, Kansas City's the best team in the AFC. They get the number 1 seed for a reason. But I have a good feeling about Buffalo right now. Now, Mahomes comes back and plays on Sunday, and hopefully he does, because I'd love to see it. Winning a game without the other team starting quarterback, it's kind of, that's not right. I mean, I'll take it. Don't get me wrong. I think any Bills fan would take it, and I think any Bills player would take it. But truth be told, I think if all the Bills, if you polled any team that's going into a game and the opposing team's quarterback is questionable right now, most of those guys are like, no, we want to play against their best. We want to be able to play against their best. And I think most professional athletes would say, hey, we want to play against their best. Hopefully Mahomes passes and goes through the concussion protocol, and hopefully he plays on Sunday night. Because I don't necessarily want anyone to say, oh, the only reason why you're in the Super Bowl is because, you couldn't beat Kansas City with a healthy quarterback. No. All right, whatever. I'd just as soon rather have Mahomes healthy for the game. But I look forward to the game. I'm really looking forward to the AFC or to the NFC Championship game. I thought what Tampa Bay did yesterday to New Orleans, man, that was good. The defense, they turned Drew Brees into a pedestrian quarterback, picked him off 3 times, and give New Orleans and Brady credit. Those picks turned into touchdowns, and they got the job done. And they beat New Orleans 30-20, a team they hadn't beaten all year long. And now Tampa, they kicked the crap out of Green Bay earlier in the season, and they get the Packers at Lambeau. And likewise, Kansas City kicked the crap out of Buffalo in Orchard Park, and now they have them in Kansas City. So both Buffalo and Green Bay have redemption games, revenge games, if you will. Let's get back to the phone lines. Tony, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on, Tony?
Hey, a couple things. First of all, that was a choke out of Mahomes. I'm going to tell you a little story about when I was younger, and I rode my bike across town to the west side of Warren over by Warren Western Reserve, and ended up, well, never mind, choking some guy out over there, but forget about that. No, I'm joking. That was to our buddy Emmanuel.
Did you put him on the wrestling mat and choke him out? Come on now. Come on now.
So, hey, by the way, I want to tell you the first thing I learned in football. The first thing I learned in football when I was very young. If my aunt had male genitalia, she'd be my uncle.
Yep.
Let's leave it at that.
Yep.
We all learned that, and that's the first thing you got to learn in sports. Don't whine to me about how it's a stupid rule about the ball going out of the back of the end zone. It went out of the back of the end zone, and like this year's election, you don't change the rules after the election.
No. You're right. You're absolutely right. But what I'm saying is, before the 2021 season begins, can we please get rid of that rule? Because it's a stupid rule.
There's, you know what I actually called officiating, high-level official relationship of mine. I wanted to ask him the justification for that rule, reasoning for that rule, because I'm sure there's a reason for that rule. And I don't know exactly. Let's say there was a fumble on the goal line. You kicked it out of the back of the end zone. You get the ball back? No, you need to lose the ball. I don't know what the justification is, but it's been the rule for 1,000 years. I think when football first started 1,000 years ago, it was in place. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, the whole get it out of the back of the end zone. Okay, you had 10 yards to recover that ball, and the ball wasn't recovered. It goes into the back of the end zone. You can make a good argument. You're making a really good argument if it's going out of the back of the end zone. This didn't go out of the back.
I don't know
this
if
went
it's
out
a
of
good
the
argument or
side
not.
of the
It's
end
just,
zone.
You know what? The rules are the rules, and
I agree with you.
How many times does that even come up?
That's why the rule has never been changed, because it doesn't come up very often. Now, the fact that it came up in a high-profile playoff game, I think that the NFL competition committee is now going to look at this and say, wait a second. In any other circumstance, if the offense has the ball on the 35-yard line and the guy on a jet sweep gets popped and the ball goes out of bounds, we're not giving it to the opposing team. We're letting the offense have the ball. So let's clean this up. Now, I'm not saying that you change the rule during the game. Of course not. That's absurd. I mean, now you're falling into I won this and the numbers say otherwise. Well, I still won this, and I'm going to hold my breath until I'm blue in the face until you change the rule. No, that doesn't.
You knew the reference.
I knew the reference. Of course, I knew the reference.
As the crown of the helmet goes, it was a missed call in field, and it was. But you know what? Didn't you punt the ball away before Kansas City had their last series? Didn't you have a chance to stop a backup quarterback at 3rd and 14?
Yep.
You had a chance there. You had a chance to stop them at 4th and 1, and you didn't do that either.
Wow.
This goes back to, you know what? It was a close game, but do they get to replay it because Mahomes? The MVP 2 years ago had to miss part of the game. No, that's you keep playing on.
Yeah.
This is the cards you're dealt.
Yep, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Now, having said that, at the end of the year, when all the dust is settled, look back on that particular call. I think now, for the safety of the players, starting in 2021, if someone sees or thinks that they saw a helmet-to-helmet hit, you need to stop the action, and you need to let replay determine that.
But I don't think you need to. I don't think you have to micromanage. I think they missed the call. It generally doesn't get missed. And let's be honest with something. He did not. It was not a helmet-to-helmet contact. He hit his head with his shoulder pad. It was not helmet-to-helmet. So So the only person that the tackler was jeopardizing was his own self.
I'd love to see, because I should have sworn the number of times that I saw it, his helmet went into the helmet. I'd like to see that again.
No. It was shoulder to helmet, but he did lead with the crown. You can lead with the crown. You can hit a guy in the leg, and you're still penalized for that because they're trying to protect everybody. I would, you know what, like Emmanuel said later, the guy was reaching for the goal line. If he doesn't reach for the goal line, you're on the 1 yard line, okay? He took that chance. Risk versus reward, right?
No. I listen, I agree with what you're saying. And I'm certainly not saying that, we should stop and oh, by the way, that rule shouldn't exist. Give me the ball back. No, I mean, obviously the rule exists. It's a stupid rule, but the rule exists. And Kansas City, by rule, gets the ball on the 20-yard line, and that's how they played it. And, again, I think the rule stinks, but that's how the rule is.
You still had most of the fourth quarter to get to make up those 5 points.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I have said, and I will always say, and it's always going to be proven to be this way, no one call in the history of sports has ever screwed a team out of a win, out of a loss. It doesn't exist, because I can look back and say, okay, you're going to use that one call? Okay, well, I have, in an NBA game, I have 47 minutes and 58 seconds that I can look back on of all the missed layups and all the missed free throws and all the other stuff that you could have had, which would have padded your score. Oh, you want to talk about this in the bottom of the ninth inning? Okay, you had 27 outs. If you're the visiting team, you had 27 outs to deal with this stuff. You could have had a couple of hits with runners in scoring position, to add in some more runs. It's nonsense whenever someone says, oh, we got screwed by the officials. It's never happened in the history of sports. It never will happen in the history of sports, period.
Hey, can we move on to the other game? First of all, there's 2 points about the protocol on Mahomes.
Yes.
One of the things in the protocol is he is pretty much in isolation. Part of the rehabbing a concussion is you have to shut that guy down. Mental stimulation isn't permitted for days.
Yeah, he's
not going to be able to be present for that game.
Well, he is not going to be, and I want to make sure I understood this correctly. He is not going to be on a practice field until Friday minimum.
But he can't be in a film room either.
No, he can't be practicing.
Because you have to minimize mental stimulation.
Yes. He cannot be on a field practicing until Saturday at the very earliest. He cannot be on a field until either Thursday or Friday. He can't be on a field. And that's part of some of the things he has to. There's a 5-step process that he has to pass in order for him to be cleared.
I got to ask this, and I assume he's not there. Our friend Anthony's not there, right?
No, he's going to be here on Wednesday.
Okay, well, I'll call back on Wednesday because I need to ask Anthony, has he petitioned the NFL to get the Chiefs another couple bye weeks so they can get healthier again?
Somehow I knew that question was going to be asked. Yeah.
Hey, now on Mahomes, my biggest concern for his health, his ability to perform, is not the concussion. I think he'll be fine on that end.
Yeah.
Is his turf toe.
That's the other thing.
He was really hamstrung, if you will, with that turf toe. I mean, if turf toe, you can't push off that back leg, about that back foot.
Yeah.
You can't drive to break out of the pocket. You can't. There's a lot of things you can't do. And let me tell you something, and I've said this before in other sports. If you play hurt, you get hurter.
Mm-hmm.
He may not have been. Did you see him try to go down for his slide earlier in the game, and he almost got hurt then?
Yeah.
Because he was trying to find a way to get down and not the typical way because his foot was hurt.
Yeah, and you could see that his foot was hurt by the way he was throwing the ball. Everything was going tilted toward the ground.
Right.
And his passes, before he was concussed, his passes were not very Mahomes-like. They were going projecting toward the ground instead of a straight line projection.
I will agree with Emmanuel. I'm not sure he was concussed because I didn't see any real significant impact on that play. I saw the choke outs. I really did. And I don't know anything about choking people out, literally. Even though, I think it's it was imaginary that I went to the west side of Warren and got choked up.
Yeah.
But let me throw this out real quick. I'm just going to throw this. How do Cleveland Browns, and you know where I'm going with, so let it lay. Don't bring it up right away. How do people think Mahomes or Baker Mayfield performed in that game, and how do they think Josh Allen performed in his game?
Yeah, this is.
And I'm just kind of curious about that because I heard a lot of people commenting that Josh Allen just did not perform well, and I couldn't. Those announcers could not have been more effusive about the way Mahomes performed. And you know the point I'm making specifically.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious what other people are going to say about that.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up. It's always interesting to hear different points of view.
Hey, my friend, I'm going to listen to you off the air. I actually have grout drying.
Oh, good Lord.
I don't want to be chiseling it off in a few minutes.
All right.
I'll be listening to you. Have a good day.
All right, brother. You as well. Yeah, we're going to take a time out on this because Tony brings up a really, really, really interesting point on something, and that's the perception of, oh, this person really played well, and then a perception which could have been similar. Oh, hey, this person really didn't look all that good. Is perception really reality? Yeah, that's it. You know, a lot of people that saw the game yesterday thought Baker Mayfield played a solid game, and then a lot of people that I've spoken to that said, well, you know, Josh Allen, he kind of looked a little off. Let me give you some numbers, which I think are going to be pretty entertaining, to say the least. And we're gonna put the numbers of quarterback A and quarterback B, and you tell me which one is better, or are they alike? We'll talk about that. And is perception really reality? It's a MLK Day version of Running Points, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're on the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, before you make your final decision, and let me just say this, purchasing a car, whether it's a used car, whether it's a new car, it is the second largest purchase you are going to have in your lifetime. The biggest purchase, of course, is buying a home. A car is the second biggest purchase you will ever have in your lifetime. Unless, of course, you're purchasing a business. Now we're talking different stuff. I mean, if you're not a business owner, the car is going to be the second biggest purchase you will ever have in your lifetime. You owe it to yourself to shop around. And you owe it to yourself to go to a really good dealership. I'm talking Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. I'm not saying that you should go there and easy peasy, the game is over, and that's it. Look, if you're going to do your shopping for a new car, and everyone should, before you make your final decision, you need to go to Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. They'll earn your business because they have a great sales department, guys and gals that won't sell you a lemon. They have a great finance department because, let's be honest, if some of us have bad credit, all because of some other stupid stuff, or maybe you've gone through a divorce and you don't have the greatest credit in the world. Not saying that it's me. I'm just saying that it could be someone. The finance department is important because who in the hell wants to pay out the wazoo for interest rates? You want to have the lowest interest rate as possible. That's why you want to do this. If you're buying a car and your interest rate is 1,000,000%, oh my God, you're going to be paying out the wazoo for that. You don't want that. And Greenwood Chevrolet has a really good finance department. And if your car needs serviced, oil change, God forbid you bumped something or you got into an automobile accident, the service department is there to take care of your car. And all three phases, phenomenal. Greenwood Chevrolet, Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Do yourself a favor. Go there before you make your final decision on what car to purchase. I guarantee you will be impressed by the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. We're going to take a time out. Is perception reality? I'm going to give you two numbers, and you tell me which of the numbers are solid and which of the numbers are good but not great. We'll take a time out and dive into this. Stick around. More to come on this Monday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet, Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Okay, perception and reality. You know, all weekend long I was listening to the quarterback play from Mayfield and quarterback play from Buffalo quarterback Josh Allen. Now, one of the reasons why these two are attached together, mainly because they're both members of the class of 2018, along with Lamar Jackson. And Sam Darnold. Now, Sam Darnold has not appeared in any playoff games as of yet, so he has not taken the step that Mayfield has taken, that Josh Allen has taken, and that Lamar Jackson has taken. Now, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and Josh Allen all won their first playoff game last weekend. And this was Allen's second chance. This was This was Baker's first chance, and this was Lamar Jackson's third chance. And they all won their first game. Baltimore knocked off Tennessee, Buffalo knocked off Indianapolis, and Cleveland knocked off Pittsburgh. So the three quarterbacks were all in action. Buffalo played Baltimore, and Cleveland played Kansas City. And Saturday, I'm listening to, the Bills, they kind of struggled offensively. They only put up 10 points offensively. I mean, the last touchdown was the 101-yard interception returned by Taron Johnson. It should have been 102, but I'm not gonna moan and groan about the numbers. But the offense only put up 10 points. And, you know, I was hearing people say, oh, Josh Allen really didn't have that good of a day. Okay. And obviously the Browns were able to put up 17 against Kansas City. And clearly, you know, that's 17's bigger than 10. Baker had a much, much better day. Let me read you the numbers. Let me read you the numbers because this is pretty fascinating. Quarterback A completed 23 passes. Quarterback B completed 23 passes. Quarterback A had 37 attempts. Quarterback B had 37 attempts. Quarterback A threw for 206 yards. Quarterback B threw for 204 yards. Quarterback A threw a touchdown pass. Quarterback B threw a touchdown pass. Quarterback A, kids, is Josh Allen. Quarterback B is Baker Mayfield. Each quarterback threw 37 times. Each quarterback completed 23 passes. Josh Allen threw for 2 more yards than Baker Mayfield, and both quarterbacks threw 1 touchdown pass. And oh, by the way, Baker Mayfield threw the only interception of the 2 quarterbacks. So do you want to tell me again who had the exceptional day? Neither one of them did. Perception and reality, kind of 2 really different things at times. Oh, sure, Cleveland put up 17 points, and they put up 17 points in much better conditions. Kansas City was sunny, beautiful, not really windy. I mean, it kind of was, but not 20-mile-an-hour winds. Saturday night was ugly, rainy. It was windy. It was nasty out there. Perception and reality, sometimes in life, perception and reality are not the same thing. Unfortunately, and this, I'll just leave it at this. If you say something long enough, people will start to believe it. If you say something long enough, people will start to believe it. And if you say something long enough and people aren't willing to look at numbers or look at the proof or lack thereof, shame on you. Perception and reality are kind of a separate thing. And I'll just leave it at that. Not just in sports, especially in life. Perception and reality, sometimes it's not even close to being the same thing, and we'll just leave it at that. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. We got plenty of games on the network on this Martin Luther King Day holiday. And again, happy MLK Day to everyone. Schools are off today, and why not? We have afternoon games. And we have one game that's going on right now as we speak. Warren JFK is in Youngstown, girls basketball. JFK is playing Youngstown East. That game started about an hour or so ago, so it should be in the second half of the game. This afternoon at 3:30, the Poland girls will visit South Range. This is going to be a damn good game, Poland and South Range. 5:30 today, Cheney is at Fitch. And LeBray is at Brookfield. Let's get back to the phone lines. You're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on?
I am so sorry, but I have to tell you this.
What's that, man?
If you look at the stats between the Baltimore and Buffalo game,
yes,
Baltimore outgrushed Buffalo by 120 yards.
Yes, they did.
Baltimore outpassed Buffalo by like 6 yards, 2 or 6 yards. Yes, they did. Check it out.
Yep, they did.
Baltimore had the time of possession was on their side.
Let me look at this real quick.
Look at it, Ronnie.
Yeah, let me look at that real quick. Yeah, you are right. Baltimore had the ball for 35 and a half minutes in this game. You are correct, sir.
So if I was to tell you, right, that your team led all those, wouldn't you believe you would have won the game?
You would think. You would
so
think.
That's statistics, right? But the one thing that has not changed, I've been saying this forever. I don't care if it's Big Ben and I don't care if it's Lamar. You can't win throwing a pick six.
No.
I ain't calling no more today, my brother. Remember that, man.
Listen, that was the only turnover of the game. You also can't win when you've been penalized for 48 more yards than the other team.
Well, we was not we, but Baltimore was ahead in any other stat. But think about all those stats: time of possession, rushing, passing.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, and
unbelievable.
And if you would never see a game where a defense allows, and I don't want to say the word allows as in, oh, we're arrogant enough to say we're going to allow you to do this. The Buffalo's defense is such, if you want to go 20-20, hey, we got no problems with that. But once you get near the red zone, you're not getting into the end zone all that often. You'll be kicking field goals more times than not. They don't have that defense where they're going to just smother everyone from the outset. They play a defense where it's not prevent, but it's damn close, where they just sit back and go, hey, you want to just pick your way down the field and go 9 or 10 plays and try to get 75, 80 yards? Yeah, go ahead, do it. Our philosophy is you're going to screw up sooner or later, and when you do, I'm going to grab that. That's the main reason why Taron Johnson got the pick and saw real estate down the near sideline and veered off toward the right, went up the sideline and was able to score a touchdown. That's Buffalo style of defense. They're not pretty, but when they get inside the 30-yard line, good luck trying to get in the end zone. You don't happen very often.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I love you like a brother. But, Ronnie, you can't make a living playing like that.
Well, no, I mean, sooner or later it comes back to
you'll win a lot of games. But right now you guys are in rarefied air. You guys are playing in the conference championship. And if you get by, choose your poison.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, or you're part of Tom Brady's story. My God.
Emmanuel, here's the thing that I think everyone should salivate at. And I know I don't like putting the cart before the horse. I mean, look, whichever Super Bowl you get, and I'm looking at the different matchups. Okay, let's say Kansas City beats Buffalo. If Kansas City plays Green Bay, you're going to be talking about the battle of the two best quarterbacks in this game without any question. And I say that as a Josh Allen fan. Patrick Mahomes, when he's healthy, is better than Josh Allen. I have no problem saying that. So obviously, Aaron Rodgers is the best of the best right now. So if you have Aaron Rodgers leading the Packers against Kansas City, you have a battle between the two best quarterbacks playing right now in the National Football League, no questions asked. If Tampa Bay happens to beat Green Bay and Kansas City beats Buffalo, you have the certified GOAT. I don't agree with it, but a lot of people say he is. The certified GOAT over at Tampa Bay looking for a 7th championship, going up against the defending Super Bowl champs and the guy that is, a lot of people are saying, is perceived to be the closest thing of the 25 and under crowd to Tom Brady. So you got a really cool matchup. But let's look at the other side of this. Let's say Buffalo beats Kansas City, Emmanuel. Now you have Buffalo against Green Bay. Two of the greatest franchises in terms of sports fans. Packer Nation with the Cheeseheads, Bills Mafia. Oh, by the way, Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback in the game and arguably the most talented quarterback of all time. A lot of people are thinking that. going up against a young and upcoming gunslinger who has had an unbelievable resurrection from his rookie year to his third year. Man, this is a great story. But look at Buffalo against Tampa Bay, and you tell me if this ain't the best of the four. Tom Brady goes back to face a team from the AFC East that he's bitch slapped his entire career.
Well, you got to understand something. He's also bringing Gronk and AB with him.
Exactly. Exactly. It's except for Bill Belichick, the two biggest villains in Buffalo Bills fans' eyes, Rob Gronkowski, who grew up in the Buffalo area, and Tom Brady. And if it's a Tampa Bay Buffalo Super Bowl, Buffalo goes up against Satan himself in Tom Brady. That's the best of the best of the best as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, I'm a little biased because I'm a Bills fan, but I think if it were Buffalo and Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, that stuff just writes its own material. Tom Brady owned Buffalo when he was in New England. Owned them. It was like, how many years was he in the NFL with New England? 20 years?
Well,
he played 40 games against Buffalo, and I can only count on one damn hand how many times Buffalo beat New England when Brady was playing. So it just writes its own story.
But there's also redemption too if Buffalo makes it. Buffalo can they go? And I want to ask you this too. I was going to ask you this tomorrow, but I'm going to ask you this now. Does it worry you, not cart before the horse, does it worry you that, there's a chance you guys can go 0-5 in the Super Bowl?
No, this
about that?
This one has nothing to do with the teams of the 90s. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, a lot of people will say, if Buffalo goes to the Super Bowl, and again, I'm not putting no cart before the horse, but if it were the case and the Bills go to the Super Bowl, I'm sure a lot of people will try to connect the dots and say, the same old Bills are 0-4 in the Super Bowl. And Josh Allen wasn't even friggin' born when the last time the Bills were in the Super Bowl. This is way different, way different story. That would be the last thought in my head, because that time period with the Bills in the four straight Super Bowl the four straight Super Bowl appearances, four straight AFC championships. That was a special time, but it's got nothing to do with today's edition.
That's your story. You sticking to it, huh?
Well, I mean, I'm going to try to.
Okay, my brother. I just had to tell you those stats. Those were unbelievable, and they won the game.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was Baltimore had some great numbers. They wound up with how many yards they have total? 340 yards total offense. Bills only had 220. If you look at the
rushing yardage, too. Look at the rushing yardage.
Well, I mean, look, the Bills don't run the ball. I mean, that's just
120 yards. How do you lose a game when you outrush a team 120 yards? Well, pick six. Okay, Roddy, I gotta go, man. Let's take my call again.
Yeah, that's it. 330-886-0813. Yeah, I mean, if it's Bills Tampa in the Super Bowl, oh God, you mean to tell me we got to go through Satan himself? And Gronkowski. Oh God, stop! Look, just get me through Kansas City, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm looking at the potential Super Bowl matchups. Well, of the four potential Super Bowl matchups, Buffalo against Tampa. Oh my God, that writes its own storyline. Now, Buffalo against Kansas City writes its own storyline, too. I mean, you got the guy that says, everyone says, could very well be the next chapter of Tom Brady against the man himself. Unbelievable. If Mahomes and the Chiefs beat the Bills and they go up against Green Bay, you got the two best quarterbacks in the National Football League battling each other. Man, that's a great story. If it's the Bills and the Packers, two of the greatest fan bases, with all due respect to the Pittsburgh fan base, with all due respect to the Cleveland fan base, and maybe the Denver fan base, but Buffalo and Green Bay, their fan bases are pretty damn outrageous. The Cheeseheads against Bills Mafia, and oh, by the way, two really good quarterbacks. Yeah, that's an intriguing matchup. But Buffalo and Tampa Bay, Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills, they won the East because, well, Tom Brady's not in the East anymore. And New England, they had all their guys decide they wanted to leave because of COVID. And Tom Brady goes to Tampa. And that's the team Buffalo's got to play? Yeah. Oh, by the way, if you want to win a Super Bowl, you got to go through Satan. Yeah, that would be that would be fascinating. But like I said, Sunday's games are going to be incredible. Sunday's Championship Sunday will be fun. It always is, and hopefully, fingers crossed, my Bills knock off Kansas City. I like their chances, but again, the biggest and most important thing, Patrick Mahomes. Hopefully, he's healthy. And hopefully he plays football. I'm looking at the YSN schedule, and I'm saying basketball. Jesus, Ron. Hopefully Mahomes plays on Sunday, and hopefully he's healthy, because that's what needs to be done. As a Bills fan, I don't want Buffalo playing Kansas City with their backup quarterback. I just don't want to see that. Give me a healthy Patrick Mahomes, and let's go. Let's see what happens. All right, on the network today, we made mention, Jeff Bezos is in Youngstown with the JFK East game. That game should be nearing its conclusion as we speak. 3:30 this afternoon, our buddy Anthony. Anthony's healthy again, thank God. Thank God. Anthony is in South Range for the Poland South Range game as we play basketball, afternoon basketball, on MLK Day in the Mahoning Valley. 5:30 start. Cheney is at Fitch. LeBray is at Brookfield. By the way, LeBray 3-2 in the gray tier. Brookfield is 2-1. Brookfield's lone loss came on Thursday night against Crestview. The Lady Rebels knocked off Brookfield. It'll be LeBray against Brookfield today, as these two teams are near the top of the MVAC gray tier. Martins Ferry will be playing Beaver Local. The rest of these games are a 7 o'clock start. Martins Ferry taking on Beaver Local. Louisville taking on Canfield in Canfield. Columbiana is at Lisbon. Girard is at Newton Falls. St. Thomas Aquinas will be playing Ursuline in boys basketball. This is a boys game. St. Thomas Aquinas at Ursuline, boys basketball tonight. And another girls game, West Branch will go to Berlin Center to take on Western Reserve. Really good basketball games starting at 7 o'clock tonight. And again, give or take a few minutes, as everyone knows by now, the JV start at 5:30. And depending on how quick the JVs are done, the game could start before 7. If it's a long JV game, it could start after 7 o'clock. But that's your Monday schedule. And again, all girls games with the exception of the St. Thomas Aquinas Ursuline game from Ursuline High School tonight, somewhere in the vicinity of 7 o'clock. That is the schedule on the network today and into tonight. All right, 330-886-0813, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business with you till 3 o'clock, at which time DJ and the fellas will have the Power Hour. That'll be coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. Take a time out, be back with more. It's a Monday edition of Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
High-res Futurecast shows steady snow for the next few hours.
Still just downright cold.
It is bitter out there.
Several strong bands of lake effect snow.
Winds is kind of the big story today as well.
So if you need a more detailed winter forecast on WFMJ.com and the Storm Tracker 21 app.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Points, courtesy of Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. As we celebrate the life of Martin Luther King Jr., I've often been asked, of all of the inspirational quotes that Martin Luther King Jr. has been associated with, which one happens to be my favorite? And here it is. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. That's one of my favorite sayings of all of the inspirational quotes that Martin Luther King Jr. had made in his lifetime. That is without question my favorite. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. And had I, at one point in time, believe it or not, at one point in time, I had a thought. It was fleeting, trust me. I had a thought that I would be a teacher. Now, it was, like I said, it was fleeting because the love of broadcasting has been in me for longer than I can remember. And it was cemented in me on a Saturday afternoon in Pittsburgh. My youth group, in the church that my father, when he moved us down to Leetonia, we became members of the United Methodist Church down in Washingtonville, which is a town adjacent to Leetonia. It butts right up against Leetonia on the northern part of the village. And we lived in the northern part of the village of Leetonia, where you're literally a 5-iron from Washingtonville. So anyway, we went to this church, and our youth group had a outing where we all went to Three Rivers Stadium. So it was on a Saturday afternoon, nationally televised game, NBC back in the day, in the 70s, and I believe this was 1974? It was 74. He was 9 or 10 years old. And I'm pretty sure I had just turned 10. So I'm pretty sure it was in mid-August. I had just turned 10. It was 74. St. Louis was playing the Pirates. It was on a Saturday afternoon. It was the game of the week. NBC had the game. And the Cardinals were just destroying the Pirates. I think the game wound up being like an 11, 12, 13-run deficit. I mean, it was like either 13-2 or 15-2, regardless. And everyone decided they wanted to leave. And they, after the 8th inning, left. Well, I don't leave unless it's really crappy weather. I don't leave a game until the game is over. I just don't. I don't leave until the game is over. And I just, because you never know what you're going to see. But, here I am at 10 years of age. Nobody said, hey, we're leaving. So I hung around, watched the game. And then I look around and I'm like, where the hell is everyone? why am I the only one here? What the heck is going on here? So, obviously, game's over. And I'm riding the escalator down. I'm trying to catch up with whoever. And I have no idea where. Three Rivers, I hadn't been to Three Rivers. I'd only gone to one stadium, and that was the old municipal stadium. That's the only stadium that I'd ever gone to. I'd never gone to a game at Three Rivers until this particular day. So I'm walking around the stadium, and I'm trying to get to this bus. So, I'm sure that they didn't leave me. At least I was hoping. But the 10-year-old in me is like, oh, God, what if they left me? Well, I'm in Pittsburgh. I'm 10 years old, for God's sake. What the hell's going on? So, walking around the stadium, and I pass the NBC truck, and someone is there doing fiddle-faddling with some equipment and whatnot. And the game is over, and these guys are, they're trying to get out of there. And, I was very quizzical, so, I asked some questions. And the guy's looking at me. He's probably trying to get rid of me at this point because they wanted to get the hell out of Pittsburgh. I spent like 5 minutes there. And that was all I needed. That was all I needed. That was it. That was boom. This is what I wanted to do. Hell yeah. I get to go to a sporting event for free, and I get the broadcast game. Sign me the heck up. Heck yeah. This is what I'm going to do. And the only thing was, well, I'm not going to be able to do any of this unless I, find my people so I can go back home. So I can, I can have plans here. I can go back home. I'm going to work on being a sports broadcaster. Yeah, baby, that's what I'm going to do. Except, I can't find my mom anywhere. Can't find my friends anywhere. Can't find the bus driver, whatever. So about 15 minutes later, I get reunited, and the PA announcer had already called my name once or twice. Everyone's all petrified and whatnot. And this was back in the era where kidnapping was a big thing. So everyone, you can only imagine what everyone was thinking. 10-year-old kid, he's missing. Oh God, here we go. Well, I finally find where the bus is. And of course, my mom's bawling her eyes out because, you're going to explain this to the rest of the family. Oh, yeah, by the way, Ron's missing. Yeah, that's going to go over like a fart in church. So I'm walking toward the bus, and Mom gives me a bear hug of a hug. She's crying her eyes out. Give me a bear hug. So, don't you ever do this again? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. I got a big smile on my face. You don't understand. I know what I want to do for the rest of my life. I am sold on this. I know what I want to do the rest of my life. And I'll never forget, Mom's still crying. She goes, you know what? She said, you're going to have plenty of time. You're going to have plenty of time telling me what you want to do for the rest of your life because you're grounded for 2 weeks. And puts me in another bear hug. Now, prior to that, I wanted to be a teacher. Fleeting thought, as it were. Now, can you imagine me, the kind of person that I am, trying to teach kids? I think I'd probably have a lot of people going, Ron, your language is such where we really don't want you to be anywhere near. Okay, I get it. I'd probably be toned down a tiny little bit. I'd be toned down a little bit, and hopefully toned down with, because nobody wants to see a fat, ugly teacher, trying to teach class. But the point in all of this, roundabout way, if I had been a teacher, one of the things that I would most definitely want my kids to see, especially if I'm an American history teacher, is the March on Washington, I Have a Dream speech from MLK. That would be come toward Martin Luther King Jr. Day, in which now everyone is off on that day. The school is predominantly, schools are shut down, and a lot of things are shut down because it's a national holiday. But if I were teaching, especially American history, close to that day, I would have, from beginning to end, the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech. Do yourself a favor on this day. It is hands down one of the greatest speeches ever. Back in a bit. It is a Monday edition. Running Point on ysnlive.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealthadvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. We made mention plenty of day games on the network. Anthony Hartwig is in South Range. That's a 3:30 game. Boy, that's going to be a hell of a game. Poland girls taking on South Range. That should be a fun game. Poland is supposed to be one of the teams to beat in Division II. Certainly, they, along with West Branch, Salem is very underappreciated. I think they're going to be up there as well. And obviously, South Range and Jeff Fischel's club in Division III, they're going to be one of the better teams in D3, no question about that as well. A lot of teams in D3 that are going to be kind of fun to watch when we get to the girls' tournament. And again, when we have the two tournaments combine into one, it'll be interesting to see how many teams go from what would normally be their district. How many of those teams are going to be moving to the other district? I'll be curious. I'll be curious to see how that happens. But South Range, clearly, Division III, they're going to be one of the better teams in Division III in that South Range Poland game. And I think it's round one. I don't believe they've played each other already. I believe this is round one. I could be wrong on that. But Anthony Hartwig will have the story from South Range High School at about 3:30 this afternoon. And Jeff Bezos broadcasting the Warren JFK game against Youngstown East. So there you go. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. And we got lots of girls action. We mentioned the one boys game, Louisville St. Thomas Aquinas. Will be traveling from outside of Canton down to Ursuline High School as they take on the Ursuline Irish tonight from Ursuline High School. Well, really nice venue, by the way. Oh, God, I love that place. If we were to talk about the basketball venues, now, obviously, the two iconic places, for me, the Struthers Fieldhouse and Potter Fieldhouse in Mahoning and Columbiana counties, respectively, those are two really, really nice gyms, two really nice places to watch a basketball game. Salem has a gorgeous facility as well. And then it's interesting, when I used to broadcast games with iHeart when I was working for them, and we had the basketball games from Salem. They used to put us up in the weight room area, which gorgeous weight room that Salem has, and it's second floor of the gymnasium, and you if you look toward the tail end of this second floor, you have a railing, and then above the railing is just a beautiful view of the basketball floor in Salem, and the basketball court in Salem is gorgeous. It is absolutely beautiful. The whole gymnasium is absolutely beautiful. And the weightlifting facilities are on the second floor of the basketball gymnasium. And we would go right past that to essentially broadcast a game. And just, set up our equipment near the railing. Now, the only bad part of it was you didn't have a really, really high chair that you can sit down and have your head over the railing to where you can watch the game. If I sat in a chair, I would always have the railing right at eye level. And you can't do that. You just can't do that. That's, it's not going to work. You got to be able to have a seat where you can sit above the railing and watch from that perspective. If not, then you got to stand and broadcast the game. Well, I always had to stand and broadcast the game in Salem. It's not bad. It's not that it's a bad thing. I stand and broadcast the game at Crestview because of the same reason. The second floor, there's a railing where the second half of the bleachers in Crestview, the general admission seats, if you will, there's a railing that separates the second part from the first part. You got to go up a flight of stairs. Well, the railing is always at eye level when you sit down. You can't see anything. You got to stand up to broadcast the game. I got no problems with that. Would you like to sit down? Well, of course. But you don't have a high chair. You don't have a high chair. But Salem is one of my favorite places to broadcast a game as well. Great places. A lot of great venues. My alma mater. And by the way, the varsity girls basketball game tonight between East Palestine and Leetonia canceled. My alma mater at Leetonia. Now, the old gymnasium, where the old Leetonia High School, which has been since demolished, and the old high school is, like I said, it was demolished. The public library in Leetonia is now where the old Leetonia High School used to be. Well, the new gymnasium, it's beautiful. Now, it's not as nice as the old one, because the old one had the balcony and the old one had brick all around, and you didn't have to sell the place out to have a lot of noise in that joint. when you had a standing room only crowd, I mean, you had 4 rows of bleachers on either side. Those long bleachers that went from baseline to baseline, and you brought them out. They were old school bleachers that you would, they went up like dominoes, where you pushed one back into another, and you went all the way back to the wall. And when you wanted to bring them out, you just pulled really hard and brought them all out. And like I said, the 4 rows of bleachers, and it was from baseline to baseline on either side. So you figure you'd sit about 1,200 with the bleachers, another 100 or so in the balcony. And if you needed some seats on the stage, because the stage was above the court level by about 15 feet, 10 feet. I'd say about 10 feet. Not even that. I'd say closer to 5 feet. 5 feet above court level. You had a padded wall in between, out of bounds, right where below the stage. You had this padded area where if guys ran out of bounds, they could have this padded area to stop them. You could put maybe 50 or 100 people in the stage. But when this place was capacity, oh my God, was it loud in this place. Because you had brick all the way around the old gymnasium in Leetonia. And it just reverberated everywhere. I mean, it was loud as all get out when the place was full. Well, today, you don't have that. It's not brick, but it's modern, and you have just an absolutely gorgeous, and I think all of the high schools have this. God bless the painter that did this. All around the high schools, you have the beautiful mural, where in this case it's the Leetonia Bears. So you have a bear coming out of this brick wall, and you got the paws on this bear, the whole 9 yards. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the new place has character. It does, but it's not as cool as the old place. The old place was a dump, but it was our dump, and it was loud as hell. And the 3-point shot really wasn't a 3-point shot because we didn't really have a lot of room for a baseline 3-point shot. So if you were on the baseline, you're probably shortchanged about a foot. So it really wasn't a legitimate 3. But because we didn't have a lot of room, because the bleachers all came out toward the end line as you were going up out of bounds. I mean, the space between the end line and where the bleachers started, maybe this much. It was crazy. It was nuts. So the new places, yeah, they're nice. I like them. But the older gyms like Cardinal Mooney High School, Ursuline High School, Boardman, Fitch, these places haven't changed much. Canfield, Poland, love all of these facilities. Love them. Boardman and Fitch in particular, because you can broadcast the game from floor level, but then they also have where you can broadcast the game from up top, and they have the place for the media. Let me do this so everyone can see it. The media, the people that broadcast the games and just cover the games. You can watch with a really nice view from these places. But you're not on floor level. You're not getting the smack talk from the players and the strategies from the coaches, whatever. But these two facilities, and then you add in Poland, Mooney, Ursuline. Oh, my God, I love every one of them. Just love every single one of them. The basketball facilities that we have and the ambiance in these facilities, absolutely love it. Oh, it's great. Absolutely great. And the only thing that's missing, unfortunately, with COVID is the sellout crowds. That's the only thing that's missing. We had a barn burner of a game Friday night. Larry Scragg and I had a great game where Crestview came from behind, knocked off Brookfield. and did so. I think Jack Yerke had 11 of his 19 points in the fourth quarter, and Crestview found a way to beat Brookfield, sent Brookfield to their first loss of the season. 4 wins, 1 loss, 1-1 now in the gray tier. And the girls the day before sent Brookfield to their first loss of the campaign. Girls are now 5-1, 2-1 in the gray tier. Both of these games were phenomenal. And unfortunately, because of COVID, family and friends, and that's about it. And it sucks that we're not getting the capacity crowds and whatnot, but doesn't mean the basketball isn't good. Oh, man, we've had some damn good basketball during the course of the year. I know Larry and I have seen some really, really good basketball games with the Crestview boys and girls throughout the course of the campaign, and it's been an absolute treat to do this. Unfortunately, the only thing that's missing because of COVID, most of the fans. Now, thank God for YSN, and thank God for the folks that have the ability, thanks to WRS Wealth Advisors. You're seeing it for free because of their contribution. Thank God for YSN. If you're a basketball fan, you're able to see all of the games within our YSN family. And, you know, we said this in the fall when, you know, you were only allowed to have a certain amount of people in the stands. And we said this in the fall. You know, thankfully, you have something like YSN. Because imagine if this had been done 5 years ago. Imagine if we had COVID break out instead of 2020. Imagine if this had broken out in 2015 or 2016. YSN wasn't even around back then. I mean, YSN's only been around for 3 years. Had this happened in 2015 or 2016, folks, you're SOL. You're not going to have any opportunities to see any of these games. And I think that while COVID has been just ugly as all get out, and knock on wood, we hope and pray that the vaccines are going to work, and hope and pray that that the virus is a thing of the past, not just for sports, but for everyday life. I mean, good Lord, the loss of life that we have had due to COVID is just unconscionable. But knock on wood, the virus is going to be okay. Well, you know, from a sports aspect, had this happened 5 years ago, nobody would have been able to watch any of their games because YSN didn't exist back then. You would have been at the mercy of, okay, your television game of the week. Radio doing a few games, but, you know, even with radio, you know, how many games were broadcast because of COVID? Not many folks in radio wanted to do games because of COVID, and who can blame them, by the way? I mean, it was tough. And it still is tough. But if you're a fan of sports, and you know, this has been football and basketball season, and I can only imagine we're going to be doing the same thing with baseball, although baseball, you know, I mean, outside you can at least be somewhere near the baseball field and get an idea of what's going on, especially if you have binoculars. Just saying. But this football and basketball season, oh my God, I shudder to think what this would have been like without YSN, without our ability to do all the games that we've done. I shudder to think what this would have been had we had COVID 5 years ago when YSN wasn't in existence. Oh my God. This would have been a nightmare. Would have been an absolute nightmare. All right, 330-886-0813. We'll be back to wrap it up in a bit. Stick around. More to come on this MLK Day version of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
Boy
to
is
curb
recovering from a broken
around our
Good
valley.
afternoon. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect
It's important for everyone. No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County Court.
Become life-threatening.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is a place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Local teams are heating up the hardwoods, and you can keep up with all the action on and off the court with Five Guys Hoop News all season long on 21 Sports.
Welcome back as we close up shop on this Monday edition of Running Point. Let's go to Mike. Mike, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What up, brother?
Good afternoon, Ronnie. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man.
Hey, you were talking about an hour ago about the Josh Allen versus Baker Mayfield and the stats. And
yep.
You know, here's my take on it, Ronnie. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. But, you know, when I think of quarterbacks in the NFL today, going into this weekend, you know, when I think of Buffalo, I think of Josh Allen in regards to he leads the offense. He's a big priority why they won a lot of football games this fall. Because, you know, he's throwing the ball 30, 35 times. He's throwing the ball 15, 20, 25 yards downfield, making plays with Stephon Diggs and other wide receivers in an offense. Whereas with Mayfield, I don't look at Mayfield as being one of the 3 best offensive players the Browns have right now. Everything should start with the Browns offense with Nick Chubb and running the football with the offensive line and establishing the line of scrimmage and, with Kareem Hunt and establishing a run game first. You know what I mean? So,
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I think I've been arguing with friends about this. I mean, I think a lot of Browns fans are still mixed on Baker Mayfield. I think even the most cynical one believes he's going to be a quarterback of the Browns for the next 3, 4, 5 years, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. I just look at the situation and say, Ronnie, I'm not sure he's a franchise quarterback, and let me tell you why I say that. And he's going to be here 4 or 5 years, so please mark my words here. He's going to be here. But when I think of franchise quarterback, I think of a guy making $30 million a year that's going to throw the ball 35, 40 times a game. The Chiefs win because of Patrick Mahomes. The Packers win because of Aaron Rodgers, The Bills won because of Josh Allen. You understand where I'm going with this, Ron?
Yeah, I do. And look, in Kansas City's case, they really don't have a high-profile running back. Green Bay doesn't have a high-profile running back.
Correct.
Buffalo has no running game, so they don't have a high-profile running back.
Correct.
And Cleveland has arguably the best running attack in the National Football League.
Correct. And I think if you ask Mayfield to throw the ball 35 to 40 times a game, every single game against good opponents, I'm not sure he'd be the same quarterback he is right now. And like I said, Ronnie, I'm not dismissing him. He's going to be here another 4 or 5 years. So when I say he's not a franchise quarterback, I mean the fact that he should never be making $30 million a year because we're not asking him to do what the Packers are asking Rodgers to do or the Chiefs, Mahomes, or the Bills with Allen. You understand what I'm saying?
No, well, first of all, he couldn't do what Rodgers, Mahomes, and Allen are doing. Baker Mayfield is in a perfect spot because he is a guy that can play second banana where Chubb and Hunt are going to be the focal part.
I'm not sure Baker Mayfield likes that. If you told him that, he would not like that for 1 second.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right.
That's his competitive nature. He'd get mad. He'd get angry and upset. Like, you can see he gets fired up pretty easily. And he gets very intense very easily about stuff like that. But I know what you're saying. I don't disagree with you. But I don't think he thinks that, and nor do I think his agent thinks that. Like,
yeah.
The biggest dilemma the Browns are going to have starting next year, January 2022, is you can't keep all these guys. They're all going to want paid, right? Nick Chubb's going to want paid.
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield's going to want paid. Denzel Ward's going to want paid. These offensive linemen who you got, who are on bad contracts making $800,000 a year, they're going to all want paid eventually. You're not going to keep this team together for 5 years because the NFL doesn't work that way.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I'll be the first to say this. Even though I believe Nick Chubb should get a second contract, very rarely in today's game do the running backs get a second contract.
Yeah, and I mean, right now you got a couple of really good young offensive linemen are playing well for you, and they're only making $1 million, $1.5 million a year. They're going to want $7 or $8 million a year.
Oh yeah, listen, Wyatt Teller.
There's short windows in the NFL. Unless you're a quarterback like the Patriots and Brady for years, took a lot less money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Joe Flacco ruined the Ravens after they won the Super Bowl, Ronnie, because he wanted paid. Remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
They had to cut 3 really good players. They had to cut 3 really good players in Baltimore to pay him.
Yep. And that's where you have to sit back and go, okay, is he worth cutting 2 or 3 really good players? And again, good luck with that.
And the one I'm curious about, Ronnie, to get it done, and he can play, and he's an outstanding player, is Denzel Ward. But I question his durability. I question his reliability because the guy seems to always be hurt.
Yeah,
He's a good player, but you can't miss 4, 5, 6 games every single year and say, I deserve $20 million as a lockdown cornerback.
Yeah,
I'll pay you, Ronnie. I want you to stay in Cleveland, but I just got a feeling it's going to come to fruition in Cleveland because guys are going to want more money than I think the front office thinks they're worth. But they want him in Cleveland still. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there is a 2-year window beginning with next year with the Cleveland Browns, and the 2-year window is in accordance with Baker's rookie contract. They'll give him the 5th-year option, but after that,
no question.
That 2-year window shuts, and then now we're talking, okay, what do you have? And it's the same thing with the Bills. The Bills have a 2-year window beginning with next year. Now it's 3-year because they're still alive, but after this year, it's a 2-year window for those class of 2018 quarterbacks. Mike, I got to scoot because we're up against it, brother. All right, see ya. That'll do it for the show, and thanks a lot for tuning in on this Monday. We'll do it tomorrow, noon to 3. Running Point coming up next. Have a great rest of your